Okay. Way up. Man, that song just gets better and better. I could listen to it longer each time. Friday, is it? Friday.
It is Friday.
Come and end your week with us. Unwind. Or like, was it party pre-funk for the weekend? Open panel. Bring your drama. Bring your manners. Bring your topics, interests, stories. This is just a hangout space.
Sure thing.
We looked at the news. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I was just saying there's not much going on in the news. Yeah, that's all I say.
Hey, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
Oh yeah, I was on I was watching a stream just before this. What's his name? Speth. Speth. There's some name before it, like just Speth or something like that. And he had that Phil Illy guy, the autogynephile that showed up at the gender spec conference in the dress, and all the TERFs freaked out. And it was a really interesting conversation. And I told him in the comment, like, I'd like to get one or both of them back on, because it also, the topic of autism, ADHD, neurodivergence came up in relation to gender. And like one of the things that Phil guy said was that when he puts on there's a part of him psychologically that wants to express itself as female or feels comfort when it can. And female clothing is one way of doing that. So when he has the clothing on, it's like he's more at his baseline or his norm. And I'm thinking that sounds very much like an autism thing, like stemming, like a way of self-soothing. Like the putting on the female clothes is the same thing for him that rocking does for me. It stabilizes his sense of his self and keeps him at his baseline, etc. So it was a very interesting conversation.
I mean, that is interesting. It's definitely something to think about. I mean, and of course, once again, neither of us have any real problem with trans people in general. We just we don't like the.
Oh, for me, it's I don't like bullies. I don't like authoritarians.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Except if
none
they're
of us really have an issue in
state-sanctioned
the first place.
before all the anti-cop people come ranting at me. Real Smith. That's what his name is. I'll place the link and probably give him a follow and some likes. There y'all go. Hey,
Angeleen.
What a nice Friday. We got Angeleen spreading her love and joy. Daniel Barry.
Feel free to come on, Angeleen. I don't think I ever talked to you out except for whenever you've been on with
We can do a wild experiment and try to do Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Conflict, no drama, no tension, peace, and what is it? The high five vibes.
No drama llama Friday.
High love vibes.
Just the no drama llama before,
Because drama is a choice. Like anything, any emotion is a choice. You can always it's like 99%. It's like an event or a stimulus, like a few little data points, and then 99% what you're telling yourself about those data points. And that's where when you change what you tell yourself, the emotion changes. So anybody can stay drama free if they want. Like in a way, it's a choice. The initial reaction may not be, but from that point on, whether you
I guess
stay engaged in it, start trying to resolve it or transform it, or whatever. That can all be a choice.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, to the same degree, I think I think some people literally get addicted to it. I think some people have an actual dopamine addiction.
I'm a drama. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I used to watch all those like the Jerry Springers, and one of my favorites is the court shows because they used to fight, and then the judge would get me, and the judge would have to yell at him and get in on the conflict.
Yeah, No, I mean, like the drama in the panels is like people get addicted to that conflict and stuff like that. I think in the same way people get addicted to
No, it's
drugs.
not, Denizen. You're wrong, but you're welcome to come up and try to
Yeah, well, I mean, like
talk
you
about it.
and I mean, you and Steve have been doing the talk about the free will illusion thing, but you know, I don't understand. I just don't understand like where the. I mean, like both Steve and was it Denizen or was it somebody else that was saying how like they felt so much freer after they accepted that or something like that, and I don't get it.
Accepted what?
So that there was no free will.
Oh yeah, that I didn't understand that either. Like
And
there's
I
a
really
freedom in
I have to
resigning
admit,
yourself to powerlessness, I guess.
I don't think there is a conversation that I've had in my life, actually. I don't think I've had a conversation or a debate on something that has left me as mystified as that one did. Because like I thought about it a lot off stream too. Because like I don't understand that perspective. I really don't. I try really hard. I was trying really hard to understand what Steve was saying and what everybody else was saying. Yeah, admitting there's a higher power. Okay, a higher power isn't the same thing as saying you have no choice.
Yeah, but
That
higher
choice is an
power
illusion.
is just a figurative way of speaking. It's just a like way of using language to express something. We don't know what the referent of higher power is when people use it. And so it doesn't really, I don't know what it adds to the conversation.
I do think that everybody, as Bob Dylan once said, everybody's got to serve somebody. I believe that, you know. I believe that, like, yeah, that there's always something like, you know, kind of over us. There's always something that's kind of like, you know, that might have some degree
technically
of
a higher power is any power that can override my own and get me to do what it wants to do instead of what I want to do. So like a cop could be a higher power technically, but that's, I know that's not the way they're using it. It's a metaphysical connotation.
Yeah, that's where I get confused about the concept of having no free will being like this freeing or otherwise like just like
I don't know. Psychologically, I'm trying to tap into what it's even like to not have will or not feel like you have will. Like when you're faced with I'm trying to imagine my way into what it's like to not even think you have choices when you're making choices. It doesn't. Even Steve and them said, like in their day-to-day life, they don't even think that way. It's when they stop and reflect that they see it.
Right.
So psychologically, it seems very hard to live as if you have no free will.
I definitely like just in recent times as we saw on the stream recently, I've had days in
illness.
Illness.
This like stuff like that I could understand. Like accept, what is it? Radical acceptance, like reality testing, all of that. Like accepting reality and adjusting yourself to fact.
But that in itself is a choice. Like the realization and I mean, like I feel like it's a self-defeating argument because the realization and the idea that you're expressing, you have to choose to believe that and accept that in order for it to have any effect. So therefore, you have free will. It's like it's a self-defeating argument. It's like you cannot have the realization that you have no free will without free will in the first place. It's contradictory to me, and that's where I get really tripped up on it. And I'm not talking shit about Steve or Denizen's like beliefs on that. By the way, I'm not saying that you're stupid or anything like that.
Oh, I am.
Okay, well you are, but I honestly just have a really hard time understanding the viewpoint. The viewpoint literally makes no matter how well they articulated it, I couldn't understand like what they were really trying to say. It just didn't like make sense to me.
Things that people say on here.
Oh well, I mean, that can be understandable, but I mean, but this is like of all the conversations I've had in here, like I can usually still see someone's viewpoint, even if I don't agree, even if I vehemently disagree with it, even if I think that it's
Hey,
out and out wrong. I still can see like where they're coming from with that, but the strength. But I mean, I was surprised that the free will argument was the one that actually like that just stumps me. I just don't.
I think it stumps them too, because it's not fully articulated on their part, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, like both Denizen and Steve both said it was very difficult to wrap people wrap their heads around. But at the same time, like I feel like if you can't articulate it fully, I feel like that's
you're going to
falling into the.
convince someone of something. That's part of what you have to do.
Well, yeah,
figure out
and
a way
also
to get them to wrap their head around it. So
that
until
starts,
then, I'm going to keep living as if I have choice.
and like at
Because
the same
that's what
time,
my mental model supports, and what has worked, like predictability wise, for my life.
well, I mean, that too, and also just the fact that I feel like it's a really strange. It's just like there's this cognitive dissonance that comes with it for me that just like it just breaks down. Like I every time I try to understand what they're saying, but the fact that they can't fully articulate it and they kind of fall back to this position of like, well, yes, it's very difficult to understand kind of thing, just makes me feel like it's not really that it's basically, I mean, they're both atheists, but it seems very similar to belief that there's to a belief in almost Calvinism in Christianity, and like, you know, they're like the lack of a free will in Christianity as well, that, you know, the predestination, it seems very similar to predestination.
It's
It seems
determinism.
very
Like you're not.
well,
Everything's
predeterminism. It's not
whatever.
determinism. It's predeterminism.
Whatever. But it's deterministic. It's a deterministic philosophy or ideology or belief.
Okay, well, if you understand it well enough, if you do understand it, Denizen, then why is it so difficult for both you and Steve to articulate it in a way that makes sense, like to anybody outside of yourselves? I mean, like,
Yeah,
and
to
I'm
me,
not
if
saying
you understand
I'm not
something,
saying
you
you're
can
wrong.
communicate it. You can put it into language and communicate. Because if you understand it, in some sense, you're doing it cognitively and linguistically, unless you just have this mystical, intuitive understanding of it, which is not going to be enough for conversation.
I feel like proving free will is way easier than proving the lack of free will.
Y'all are
do
the
not
ones
see.
with the half-baked, like shoddy arguments. So I'm just saying, if whatever this particular argument is trying to convince people of, the argument itself needs work, it's not fully cooked yet. And so whatever you are trying to convince people of, because you're the one put the argument together, I'm trying to help you there. And so far, it's not at the point where it's achieving that goal. So I don't have a goal of proving free will or not. I could care less what people think about it. I just know how I live my life and what works. My whole life and like philosophy, politics, metaphysics, everything is geared to me getting from one day to another, to another, to another. That's about it. And the number one priority is my mental health. Like I keep that at the top, and I adjust my life to anything that might affect my mental health. And that's what everything surrounds. It's like a personal, pragmatic philosophy for me when I talk about this stuff. And it's very experience based.
That's extremely glib, like saying that it's like, you know, like that half baked means that things that demonstrated by the current science and fully cooked is stuff you prefer to believe without evidence. That's very glib because honestly, I mean, yes, like, but there's no evidence for either side of it. Like there's no evidence that there's no free will. There's no evidence that there is free will. Either way, you cannot tell me, hi Busker. Either way, you can't like give me. Okay, it's a glib reaction to a glib statement. Okay, I'm not trying to be glib. I don't even understand how I gave a glib how it's a glib statement, a glib reaction to a glib statement, because like I'm literally just like trying to understand. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. I really am. I'm honestly, I'm not dismissing it. I'm genuinely trying to understand what it is you're where it is you're coming from. And
he was reacting to me. Well,
okay.
By now. When I said
I knew what you guys were
I just
talking
meant
about.
not like what we said
What are you
earlier
guys
about like
actually
not
talking
being able to
about?
be fully articulated. Free will. That free will, specifically the conversation about free will that Steve and Denizen and us were having the other day.
I think Busker was part of that too, right? Weren't you a part of that too, Busker?
I'm sorry.
Were you part of that free will discussion too, Busker? I can't remember.
I think maybe I was on a little earlier and dropped out. I can't remember.
Okay. I couldn't remember if you.
Are we talking about have and have not?
No, like
free will.
Yeah, like
yeah,
free will.
yeah. We're talking about like
is everything predetermined for you?
I mean, I would say that I would say it's I mean, if anything, it's a combination of both. I think there are certain things that we don't necessarily, just because we're not fully conscious of our own actions all the time. Like, I think there's certain things that you could argue that there's less free will in than there are in other things. But I don't understand. You can argue that we have no free will. That's where I come. I come into conflict with it, and it's not something I'm trying to be conflictory about. I'm not trying to be like combative about it. I just don't.
What don't you
boggles my
understand
mind
about my concept of free will? I have a choice. If I'm given option A, B, C, or just two options, A and B, I have the choice. I determine consciously which option I'm going to choose. I can reason through it. I could go with my gut. I could ask for it, whatever, but I get to choose. It's not predetermined for me by my biology or fate or society or whatever. So that's I'm not trying to prove it or make the case for it. I'm just trying to explain what my claim is.
I understand the moist robot argument. I've heard it before. I think Scott Adams actually wrote a lot about it back before he kind of went off the deep end. But
who did?
He had Scott Adams, the guy that made Dilbert, actually wrote.
Oh yeah, I follow him on Twitter. There's something going on with, like, there was some controversy around it.
Not really. Again,
like one of the figures that the left
several
swarming around.
I mean, honestly, like, it was actually the message boards.
I don't believe that
on his webpage. That is where I first ran into anything that people call themselves alt-right. That was the first.
I don't think Robert De Niro. My life is not reflective of being controlled by Robert De Niro. It's somebody else doing it, if anything. Because Robert De Niro would not have me in the life that I'm in now. So I don't believe.
Well, I think he's joking on that one, but still. If your honest belief was that we're all controlled by Robert De Niro, that is the most interesting version of this argument I've ever heard. Certainly, I would love to hear that articulated more, because that's a really fascinating argument that Robert De Niro is actually God. But I
thought it was Rhea Perlman. Oh, I can't.
I doubt it.
I didn't spoil anything for somebody that didn't see the movie.
If we were all controller, right? Yeah, that's true. We wouldn't have any idea,
right?
What's the difference between that and
silly.
God?
That's like believing in the snake people. You can make any kind of like ridiculous thought claim.
Hey, what De Niro films are you thinking about?
No, he's the actor himself, not even his character.
Right, so. But some reason, like, Denizen has the ability to tell the difference that the rest of us don't. He has this hidden insight into.
Exactly. So, like, if that is true, Denizen,
he convinces himself that he does.
Then how do you know that Robert De Niro is it? How do you know that Robert De Niro isn't controlling you to believe that you have no free will when you actually do? Like, that's what I'm saying.
It's his choice to believe he doesn't have free will.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I can't understand it.
Prove my case.
That would be depressing, thinking he didn't have free will.
Yeah, that was my other argument about it that I started talking with Steve about, was that I don't understand, even like from a pragmatic standpoint, what's the advantage of believing that? Like, how, like, because they were saying that it was freeing for them, that it was something that actually let them like live their lives better, and like, I don't understand it. I don't understand how that helps you mentally in any way.
Yeah, that's another part I would have liked to hear more on. Denizen, this part, what you're saying, because you're right, they have done experiments. I am open to, like, when you're given a certain food, like ice cream flavors or whatever, and they can hook your brain up to machines, and they can detect what choice you're likely to make before you actually consciously make the choice. It's like the part of you has already determined.
Can they really?
So that part I am open to, but that's still I don't
And
know.
also-
I'm
and
willing
that-
to put a little question mark there because I still
To
think
me-
there's
Yeah,
some choice involved.
They're just picking up an electrical charge. They're not actually picking up the what do I want to say? The specific, ice cream is ice cream. Your brain gets a little more excited over chocolate ice cream than vanilla ice cream.
I
Per
like
se.
Cherry
Unless
Garcia.
you're racist.
Cherry Garcia is my shit, man. I love that.
I'm racist. Chocolate
and
only.
are you really?
Chocolate only.
Chocolate only. Man, I hate chocolate ice cream, but I respect your decision.
Yeah, Ben and Jerry's has got me hooked, dude. Since I've quit drinking, I just think about ice cream all the time.
Really?
And when it comes to women,
man, I wish I could.
they're
I wish
all
I could get
pink
that
on the
ice cream.
inside.
Okay, I feel like the conversation is straying a bit,
No.
so let me bring it back
All
to
right, back to free
Denizen.
will.
Okay, even in that case, like you know what ice cream before you like consciously know whatever. There's still something making a choice. Like there's something in you making a choice. It's still you. Whatever that thing that's pre-conscious is still part of you.
and I
if
would
that's
say-
making a choice, it's still choice.
And it's based on your senses. Your five
And I would
senses,
also argue
is it
that-
not?
I would also argue that it partially depends on our understanding of time and the fact that we don't fully understand the concept of time on the quantum level, as shown by the double slit, the delayed choice quantum slit experiment. That like there's a quantum level of time where time things do move back and forth through time. Like there is a way, information doesn't just travel one direction, it travels two directions. So the electrical charge might be there because you made the choice in the future that actually could affect the past, according to actual science. So like, I mean, like there's that too. So
that is the brain. My subjective ego is not separate from the brain. It's an epiphenomenon of that brain. If you turn the brain off, all that goes away.
It's a part of the
Well, I mean, just come on, Denizen. Even on playing before, just like, are you not able to get on and talk right now?
Shows Jeff just does what Jeff's brain tells him to do. That when I think I make a choice, I'm not really making a choice because the choice has already been made, but still by me, just not a part of me that I'm conscious of having made the choice. And then tells himself that he's the agent of that choice. No, I actually don't think about this at all. Like I don't have any verbal dialogue around this really at all.
I mean, but seriously, like look at the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment, and you see like the way that works, and the fact that they're able to like send these light particles through the slit, and they're able to measure them after the choice has been made, and the fact that if they're measuring them after, it actually will change the pattern depending on whether or not depending on where they're measured. So like the evidence shows that information can travel backwards.
It's not linear.
Why
it's
do
not
we
linear.
gotta complicate everything to such an nth degree when
I mean that's a good point, Chuck. But I'm just saying. But if we're on,
I'm not talking about you,
path,
Chris. I'm just talking about all these experiments to dig to the core. You know what I mean?
I mean, they didn't start out like the if you look into it, the double slit experiment it started in the 70s, and it's a fascinating story too. I mean, like because it wasn't something that like they weren't like expecting any of this. It was they were trying to just like demonstrate something they already thought was true, and they found this completely contradictory evidence that shows something completely like not what they were expecting, and it really fucked with all of science. I mean, it really did. It really bent the brains of so many scientists because like it's not at all what they were expecting, because
that's science. Like the good scientists should be like, oh yeah, well this is science.
Well, yeah, I mean, like that, but still, it's
the ones whose brains were bent.
So the double slit
completely unprepared.
The double slit experiment isn't a threesome.
Yes, it has agency. I've used it. I have personally used that agency to develop, to manage my mental health, to like achieve intrapersonal goals within my own self. Like I've applied the agency to my own self to achieve certain outcomes that I wanted to change. Yeah. All of that was done with agency. I've helped other people learn to do it for themselves. I've watched it happen. I've watched them develop that agency. That's what I do.
Totally, man.
You can call it whatever you want.
My life has changed like radically since I quit drinking. I feel
It's changed from what?
it's changed. I feel better. I mean, the MS.
100%.
Oh.
100%.
And I replaced it with methyl B12, and now my walking's better, a little better. I walked around in my kitchen without having to use the rollating walker. So that to me is like
it helps. It helps with the pain. It helps with pain.
No, it's not pain. Neurological disruption to my legs.
That's the only reason I drink is the only reason I use alcohol.
Yeah, you got MS, right, Busker?
About the methyl B12. That helps.
You got the MS, don't you, Busker?
Yes, I do, and I quit.
Yeah,
drinking,
that's what they thought my wife had, but turns out hers is Parkinson's.
Oh, so
Oh,
yeah,
man.
that's kind of close, isn't it? It's got
Yep,
out of the same.
real close. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that. It really sucks living with this any kind of disease like this, and like Parkinson's is like hell.
It's a real close cousin to each other, MS and Parkinson's.
Yeah. But like since I've been taking that methyl B12, man, that stuff is like a miracle, and I quit drinking like completely. I'm just like, I don't need booze anymore.
They wanted to put those electrodes in her. Man.
Oh shit! What kind of I never heard of that.
Yeah, there's like, forget how many, 24 or 60, certain amount of electrodes they wanted to put into the brain.
Oh God.
And then have a computer there to run it.
Holy.
And I talked her into getting second and third opinion before we went that route, and I'm glad we did.
Like the machine was gonna run her brain, like move.
Control
the muscles for her.
Yes.
Oh.
And after I watched the movie they gave us on the procedure and everything, all I told her was, look, out of all the back surgeries I've had, I said, I would have never got one if the pain wouldn't have been that severe. I said, because my surgery really didn't fix me, but it aided me to be able to walk again. But I said, this is life-changing. This ain't no decision to just take.
Yeah, that's not a light decision to take. Yeah.
Yeah, I think personally, I wouldn't take any kind of anything in my brain. No matter, that's just too experimental. I don't want to fuck with that.
Well, yeah, and that was the other thing. It was basically in the experimental stages.
Yep, that's like one of those things. It's like it's not like a recommended treatment for anything, I guess.
Because isn't that what Elon Musk?
I was about to say Neuralink.
Yeah,
they do the same thing with something like Neuralink.
That's basically what it is.
Yep.
Chris, can you drop it in the private an explanation of what the double slit thing?
Yeah, I'm dropping that. I'll drop.
That's fairly old, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, it happened. It was in the 70s, like when this experiment first took place.
Yeah, but, these are dead old white men that did all this.
I mean, it's just the 70s, but I mean, it's not like that. It's not that long ago. I mean, all of them are still alive, but I mean, but it's still like the
original people that did the double.
They would have been super, yeah.
But anyway, none of that's important to the conversation. Go ahead.
No, it's not. Yeah.
But I believe we got free will.
Wait, PBS Space Time? They have their own separate channel just for space time.
Yeah. It's a pretty good. It's a pretty good channel actually. Like they do pretty good science explanation stuff. I mean, it's not. It's very like they're very non-political and very like they tend to.
Unless it's Bill Nye, I don't believe none of them.
Like the brain can be augmented. Free will, yeah, we all have free will, but it can be augmented by bad drugs, and then all of a sudden you're acting like
The
somebody.
influence. I don't know
But
if they
even if our choices are limited, like Jeff said, A or B, we still got free will to choose A or B.
Exactly. We choose to, we can choose to believe that. We can choose to believe or not believe it. I can choose to not believe that I don't have that I do have free will, or I don't, and that itself, like in itself, is a choice. So like, I mean, like where's that choice come from? And like basically all you're arguing for at that point is that there's a God or something like that. It can't be something like. It can't be something completely terrestrial at that point. It has to be something like literally a higher power type thing.
I don't know
like,
how these like the conversations I have on these streams are predetermined. Like if this is what predetermined will is creating, and none of us are, there's no amount of choice or spontaneity to what we're doing. It's creating something no different than random chaos.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I got on a panel and somebody talked to me about methyl B12. And I was like, all right, yeah, I think I'm going to try that because I've tried it before and I didn't really need it. Now, from what this guy was telling me, he said that he knew somebody with MS, this lady who started walking again after taking it for months and months. And I'm trying that. And sure enough, my legs are stronger. I can get around. I can walk around better like a spider monkey. I need my hands to grab onto shit, but my legs are moving around much stronger. This is beyond belief. And it's something like that that makes me believe in God. You know, it's like I have things like that. It's like some sort of benevolent force, you know? And of course, there's malevolent forces too. It just seems like obvious pretty much with humanity and how they play things out, right?
So I just to explain like what something that Denizen said, abulomania is a mental disorder that causes pathological indecisiveness, which is to the point of obsession and severely affects daily life. So abulomania is a mental disorder that causes pathological indecisiveness, which is to the point of obsession and severely affects daily life. So that's what that means.
Oh,
by the way,
I was just trying to. The inability to make choices.
I think
it's like it's like an inability to make choices. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Everybody has a level of it, but maybe some people have a really big level of it. You know.
I'm bad with choices.
That's why I started to drink, if I remember right.
That's I'm pretty sure. Denizen explained this to me. If there's no free will, why does it take me 3 hours to pick out a movie in the Blockbuster?
Right.
Like that is me attempting to. If it was predetermined, it would not take 3 hours for that choice to kick in. That is me going through all of the options and thinking them through and reading the back of the box and all this stuff. Conscious shit.
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
Ain't me. My phone ain't ringing.
It's not mine either.
That old timey phone. It's got my prediction is Busker or Chris. Hey, Lanza.
It's not mine.
All right, so
you wouldn't be able to hear mine anyway. I have the mic. I have the headset.
And it's expensive as shit.
Kavita.
Kombucha, yeah.
Kombucha.
Yeah. It's an acquired taste, the kombucha.
Yeah,
how do you know? How do you know, Denizen? How do you know my taste is predetermined and doesn't develop through past experience?
It is not
You make a lot of like very firm claims that.
Yeah, you're making a lot of these claims, but I'm not seeing like anything. You're not backing it up with anything, and I'm not. Once again, I'm not dismissing your claims.
My taste in movies changes.
I'm trying to
understand, all the time, and it revises itself through time. That's consciously as I rewatch movies, and I notice things, and I like consciously take different positions than the last time I watched, etc.
Yeah.
Welcome to the hub, Lanza.
Yeah, what's up, Lanza?
Hey, have you guys ever made or looked up how to make your own kombucha?
No.
Kombucha.
No.
No, nobody?
No, I have not. No, I've
Dude,
not
you guys,
done
it's
that
so
one.
Shocking, I
easy.
know.
I've
So
never gotten into
easy.
For what
kombucha though, so
reason?
that's part of the reason why I probably would never like looked it up to like make it, because I never really got into it.
What
Like
is
I've
it? I
tried
don't
I've
even
tried
know
it many
what it
times.
is.
I've
Alright,
tried it
so
many times, but I don't like it very much. So I've never had the desire to try to make my own.
it's been a while since I explained it. I mean, if you look up like how to make kombucha, it would take us like 3 minutes to completely understand it, but you'd still be kind of like, that's weird.
Well, what's the purpose of it? Just real quick.
All right, real quick, is
It's
it
live
treat is live cultures that are created by this thing called a SCOBY, which is this living organism that you brew
and it turns into
black
like
tea with.
big kind of like patty of like brown shit.
Yeah, it's like a weird live organism, honestly.
Yeah,
And then like you drink
like all together.
Oh, kind of like sourdough,
pretty
Kind of,
much.
yeah.
basically. I just get real basic here.
And
Yeah,
I can handle it. It
I
feels-
really feel like Denizen and Steve both. I feel, and this is what I was coming up against like before too. I kind of feel like the problem, the breakdown comes in. I feel like they define free will completely differently than the way I define it. I feel like it's that like whenever they say free will, or they say I feel like they are talking about something completely different than what I'm talking about. Like the same way, like like there's like like this like the whole thing of like we're all watching a different movie kind of thing, like like we're in the world and stuff like that. Everybody has like their own view of reality, and like it's individualistic in that sense, and like that's the reason like I think that we're having a breakdown, because I don't feel like the way you guys are defining free will is the same way that I'm defining it, because like I don't, by your definition, I mean, okay, the textbook definition of like the ability to make choices, I guess, right? The ability to make your own choices. I mean, really, you need to come on to explain this, because this is too hard, difficult to do in the comments.
free will. I mean, if we all decide right now with free will that we can fly, is that gonna work?
You can
Well,
will
that's
yourself
true.
to fly. That doesn't mean you'll be able to.
I mean,
but you're able
it's like
to
it
will
kind of has to go
freely.
with ideas a little bit.
I mean,
Where it's like it's like you're not gonna.
flying's easy. Flying's easy. You just gotta
I
jump
can
at the
fly
ground and
today.
miss.
Like book a
You
ticket.
have to throw yourself to the ground and miss. That's all you got to do. So, yeah.
So you can't physically do every idea that you have.
It's your
Right.
conversation. Why do we have to
therefore,
prove it to all the turn? You and
doesn't it
Steve are
come-
the one bringing it to us.
Wouldn't it come to free will being able to embody those things, thus to prove it?
You're right, Chris. This is not how I define free will. I don't put the condition of independent of past event or prior state of the universe. That's something you're adding into your definition.
It's like,
that's
what are you
not in
trying to
mine.
prove?
So we're not
Just
even.
prove
We
it.
are not talking about the same concept.
Yeah, I don't think we are. I really, it's got to. That's the only thing that actually makes sense in this debate, because I feel like my inability to understand where they're coming from is really the fact that they're talking about something completely different. They have a completely different viewpoint on what free will even is in the first place.
Well, we don't know just because it doesn't match your. I know what it is when I talk about it. So that's all I need to know. And the people that I have these conversations with that also seem to be able to follow those conversations know. So that's all that.
And like, let's say
I don't understand, why does free will refer to the ability of humans to make decisions or perform actions independently of any prior event or state of the universe? Why is that how you define free will? Because like I've never.
I don't know. He has to explain.
I mean, like,
that.
where does that come from? Like, where do you get that that definition from?
Don't you guys know that free will evolved and it adapted from the amoeba out of the ocean? Don't you know that's where free will came from, when we adapted from all these different scientific terms? That's where free will came from, guys.
Yeah.
I know you're being sarcastic, yeah, but I mean, yeah, I
it's kind of weird how that butts up in there.
I know you're getting. I know what you're getting at.
It's quite a marvel, but
it Lanza.
Life in the universe interesting.
Lanza, where did you get your name?
I got it from this one of my friends named Steve.
Steve Lanza?
No.
He just started calling you Lanza?
He said I thought of a funny name or something, and he said, like ATOM Lanza, and I was like, because I don't really watch the news, like I didn't know that, whatever, and he was like, I just thought of a funny name.
The only Lanza I've ever heard of is I think Adam Lanza.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
and I keep thinking of Adam Lambert, the gay guy that won American Idol.
No,
Almost won it.
Are you serious?
I forgot about. Yeah, I totally forgot about the other one.
the 2000.
Oh my gosh, dude!
2012 Bang Bang incident.
Yeah, which we're gonna.
Yeah,
gloss
and so he just.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. No way.
I mean, so from what you're saying, Denizen, it's almost a nurture versus nature argument. It's really what you're getting at. I mean, it's like you're saying that your nature is determined by everything that came before you and everything that is like it's like this weird kind of combination of the nature and nurture thing. But like it's like saying that your nature is definite and permanent, but it's defined by the nurture of the world around you. So I don't see how those things are. I don't understand
potential.
And part of it is the confusion between influence and control. Like because some of the things that they think control and determine, I would say merely influence.
I would say that everything that leads up to every decision you make, that you actually make. I mean, yes, there are influences. There are reasons why
you still are making.
But you still make them,
regardless of what comes before it. There is a point in that series where you are making the choice.
Exactly.
I know. Yeah, the way the other guy's describing it sounds like he's a lab rat or something. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I have no choice. Like, what do you mean you have no? Who was saying?
I don't understand that either.
And he just says what we say is control is merely influence. Okay, that's what we were saying. We were saying that what. Okay, now I'm really confused because you're saying that what we're saying is control is merely influence. We were literally just saying the opposite of that. We were saying you're saying control and we're saying influence.
Part of that experience is the experience of making the choice.
He doesn't make choices.
And whenever you get to that point, I mean, sometimes you do something that's completely against, your nature or like your most natural thing that you would normally do. Sometimes you literally in a situation you choose to do something that you would not normally do not because of any kind of not because experience has taught you to do that, but because you had in that decision had to make the choice, and you choose what you choose what you care about, you choose what defines you. I mean, I just don't.
I gotta hop off. I gotta make the choice to hop off, guys.
Okay.
Later.
All right. No problem, Busker.
I'll talk to you guys later. See you.
Talk to you later, man.
All right.
So I hope we didn't bore you.
To get to that guy's conclusion, you would have to ask only specific questions. So if you find out what the questions were that he asked to get that answer,
he's not very forthcoming about it.
Hi, Duchess. I don't think I've ever seen you in the comments before. So hello, welcome to the podcast. If you haven't been here before, or the video or the stream or whatever you want to call it, feel free to come up and talk to us. You're a new face. You're a new face in the comments. So I always enjoy talking to new people.
Come forth onto this panel.
What's the issue? Could I weigh in on it? What's the whole thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, free will.
What are we looking for?
I don't know, because Denizen has a different.
Are we looking for the definition, or what's the?
Like I believe I have the ability to make choices. I can choose.
So you have evidence that you make choices. I agree.
Because I do.
No one here is
what
mad.
I think is a choice is not really a choice because it's based on all this past stuff.
And no one here is mad.
Like,
and I'm not.
So
quite,
will to him is the ability
religion.
to make a choice independently of the past, which I would say the choice itself is still independent of the past, because the moment you make the choice, that present moment in
Of
which
course.
you make the choice is independent.
Yeah, he's
from any
saying
past
what?
moment before it.
He's saying he's so programmed that he's not able to choose. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, I think that is
See, I wouldn't start from that position, please. Just from a moral standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, because like Steve and him both, Steve both also talked about how that doesn't mean that you don't have responsibility for the choices you make, and I don't understand how those two things are compatible. If you literally have no choice, then why are we responsible for anything we do?
I honestly, man, I'm gonna just guess right off the rip, and I'm not a bad like I can kind of jump between the lines sometimes a little bit. I don't think this person's being realistic or honest. Like I think they may be being honest, but they may not. I don't know if they are who they are presenting. They are saying something like that. Man.
I take him on good faith. I think he's sincere about his beliefs.
No, yeah,
and
I think
he has no choice to do his laundry.
He made similar points, so it's not just Den. Steve was.
Yeah, I mean,
making the same
and I'm not
argument.
mocking anybody, and I'm not mad at anybody. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to understand it. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to drill down to like the core of it, so I can understand where they're coming from. Because this has been truly one of the few arguments or debates I've ever had that I don't understand the opponent's side of. I don't understand where they're coming from.
Would all
really,
four of us agree that we do not understand that perspective of what he's saying? Like we understand it, but we're like, I don't know how you think that works. You know, like.
Chris.
I mean, it seems like it. It seems like from what I've heard from the four of us. So yeah.
If it was important, he would be. We could all agree right now that we would listen to it honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
but if he doesn't come up, then we know that he's just playing around because there's four people.
Well, I mean, there could be reasons he can't come up. He could be at work or something. I don't know what he does. I don't know his life, so I'm not going to judge, saying that he's not coming up on panel just
Ask
because.
him where he works. I'll call his boss right now.
It's just a conversation.
And that's just, I don't know.
Mafia.
I don't know if you were. I don't know if you're talking about like what I was saying, but Steve literally did say that he said. I mean, I'm not even like paraphrasing. He said that despite the fact that we don't have choice, we are still responsible for our actions. He did say that. So like, and I never really
So then why not just assume the choice? Why not just assume the choice at that point?
Well, even like in the medieval days,
what's the difference?
If somebody did something and they blamed it on a witch or a demon, that person still took the punishment for it. Like they still got burned, or even if it was.
Well, you better have some evidence.
It was actually them doing it.
You know, and that is a weird. Actually, that's a weird angle. I never thought of that. Because you could argue that. That is interesting. But like you'd have to kind of know what you're talking about. You can't just be like, I was watching Paranormal Activity, and this came to me. Like like it doesn't just, you might want to have some sources on that or something, Yeah, history's crazy, man. People had witches and all sorts of stuff happening.
Okay, Denizen, if that's the case, if that's not what he said, then maybe I'm not saying that. I heard him wrong.
He's got to be trolling if he's not coming up, but he can text and stuff. Come on.
No, I don't think. I mean, he is. He does claim troll.
Does he? All right. Well, it's not even a question.
He has a troll lineage, I think, but I don't think he's trolling.
But I bet not on this particular thing. Not on this particular topic. I don't think he's trolling. I mean, like we had a very serious conversation about it, like a few days, like last week or whatever it was. And
but the fact that it's an illusion may even be falsifiable. But it's a belief. You can believe it's an illusion and live your life that way. I can believe that it's not an illusion and live my life that way.
What would be the benefit? See, that's the thing.
You don't know any more than I do, one way or the other, 100% for sure. So we're both choosing an illusion to go with.
Here's what I'm saying, Jeff, is like, if you were honest and you really were like, yo, I think this is the way it works, and I'm telling you this out of honesty because I think it'll help. If someone else also does that as well, then there is no disagreement. It's just trying to help. You see,
I don't think it's possible to live life without illusions as humans. I think we're surrounded by illusions all the time that we're not aware. Each one of us are individual, like what the idols of the cave, Bacon calls them, our own individual little distortions that crop up. Like, so
that's true.
I accept illusion as part of the condition of life, of like mental life, social life, etc. Maybe not physical life.
Yeah, but like, okay, I mean, because that's a truth. That is a truth, actually. That is
I
part of
think
life.
you are, Denizen, and you think you're not. So, like,
I'm
where
not
does it get
choosing this
resolved?
illusion.
I'm not going to dismiss your experience and say you're wrong, that you're
This guy's
not
funny,
having the
whoever he is.
experience that you're not choosing, but I'm having a very different experience. So how do we determine whose experience is reflecting reality accurately?
You could just say neither and both.
Yeah, I
and
think
once
that's
again,
what quantum mechanics
once
is
again,
kind of starting to
my
say.
opinion is that I do not think Denizen is trolling. I do not believe that.
No, I don't-
Both of them are
want.
true, right? If
Like
they are
maybe.
both subjectively true.
The
to the
illusions
person.
are, yeah, I think the possibility of having multiple different subjective illusions around this is
Oh yeah,
true.
everyone's different, I think, right?
Yeah.
Mirror, mirror
There's-
on the
well,
wall.
I mean,
Who's the
pretty
most
much, yeah.
deluded
to
of
a
all?
degree and to not a degree, yeah.
It does.
I mean,
it does
even-
depend on how you
Go
see
ahead.
yourself. It does depend on how
Yeah.
you see yourself, and
Yeah,
so that's
perception is
definitely, yeah.
reality for the most part.
Well, perception is duality. Because
Yeah,
if
you know,
it-
that's a good way of putting it. I can see what you mean by that. I mean, I'm not saying I mean, once again, it's one of those things where I don't know.
because I know that a lot of things are duality.
I do believe in a dualistic
What do you
reality.
mean
but,
by
like,
that, Lanza?
I mean, like whatever
I
you
hear a lot of
perceive,
people spitting that word out.
whatever you perceive has to be in a realm that you know, and the realm that we know is a dualistic, like.
because almost everything is defined by contrast, right? Because like,
Yeah,
because
contrast. I was just gonna say light and dark, and
if you have no darkness, you have no concept of light, or vice versa. You can't if there is not the opposite of one, you can't define the other. So yes, I mean, like, I agree with
so
that
here's
completely.
the opposite of what you see outside of yourself. The opposite of that, which is duality outside of yourself. I mean, I guess you maybe could say there's duality within yourself as well, but your own personal vision that you can hold in your mind. A picture's worth 1,000 words. That vision, I believe, is what can help guide through the dualistic vision that we have to all endure, and some call it free will, and some call it whatever that other guy calls it.
What are you talking about? I mean, like, the very fact of duality implies a choice, implies two different sides of something that you have to choose between. So everything, I mean, like, every one of your arguments, like, I mean, maybe
There is no choice.
I mean, yeah, I don't
in the
understand.
way-
I don't
there's no
understand
choice
where
in
you're
the way
coming
you-
from. I really want to, and I don't. I mean, because both you and Steve both talked about how, like, you know, accepting this, like made your lives better. You know, it improved your.
That part I
your-
That part I kind of understood, and it made sense. It didn't have to be true to have a truth to it, kind of like religion and art and other
Sure,
things. It can be
sure.
helpful without necessarily being true. So that part I understood, and that's the part that made the most sense to me of all of it.
To me, it would be the opposite, though. I feel like that would absolutely, like,
you know, it's
I don't know.
different. I would not have the same experience, but I could, like, I don't rule out that other people could have a different experience.
No, yeah,
than me
I agree.
and have
I
it
agree
be
with
positive.
that. Yeah, that's true.
What's up,
I don't
Angeleen?
understand. I don't understand exactly how, but I do understand that other people can have a completely different experience of something from myself, and that it can be, yeah. Anyway,
This world is set up to limit or take advantage of your perceptions in terms of advertising and attention and focus and everything.
That's not the world.
Is that
That's
a real
mankind.
background, or is that a virtual background? Or are you in front of that beautiful cloth?
I'm pretty sure it's a green screen. I can see the
mine?
outline.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a green screen.
It's just a green sheet, but then I put a background on it.
Oh, okay. So it looks so real.
Yeah.
It looks like you have a sheet hanging behind you.
You can see the outline just around her shape, though. You can see, like,
I see it kind of now around the headphone. Yeah. It's very
It's
good.
helpful for Jesse too, because then he can put his purple one up there or whatever we want to do.
people that can get their chroma keying just perfect where you can't even see the outline, like that's like wizardry to me. I've tried so many times to get like the chroma keying just perfect like that. Like I've never been able to do it. I have messed around with programs doing that for hours and hours trying to get the chroma key just right. And I even with the right lighting and everything else, I just can't do it. I don't know. I haven't just figured that one out yet. So.
Dan, I need you to come up and help me with this. If I wanted to try this as an experiment, I don't even know how to begin. Like, stop assuming I have free will. Okay, I'm trying.
Okay, I think I see what he's saying. It's a trick
working.
now. I think I see what he's saying. It's a damn trick, this little guy. What he's saying is, no glory goes to you.
Know what?
And if I'm right, say I'm right, and I thank you for putting that in the chat. If I'm wrong, I still like the way it sounded. It made me feel
But
good.
I didn't hear the first part. Know what belongs to you?
No glory.
No glory goes to you, if that's the humbleness in what he was trying to say. And if not, the dude's just nuts, because I can't figure out what he's talking about then.
What you just said kind of made sense. I think I grasped a lot of that. Yeah, Lanza's right. Okay, so
Thank you, man. I appreciate that dude for putting that in there. That was slick.
I think I understand it even better because it's not about describing reality in that case. It's about describing how you subjectively experience it.
Yeah.
So you oh God, how do I want to say this? Let me think this through, because you are not. There's part of the experience that you're like offloading onto nature or God or something that I'm like including in as part of myself. It's the same experience. I think we're just framing it differently and emphasizing different parts of it, and based on the experience we're having. Like, we're both having different experience of the same thing, so that's causing us to focus on different parts of the experience and exaggerate and emphasize those. But when you put our two views together and look at the whole experience, it starts to make sense. If any of that made sense.
Yeah, I saw a correlation in what you were saying there. I wanted to say too, the correlation I kind of saw was like thinking in terms of like.
Well, Lanza, y'all are on the same wavelength. So
thinking in terms of like.
You must hearing that
Who
like
is
buzzing
that?
noise?
That's the most terrible
the
mic I've ever
Who's
heard.
I know what's doing that.
Thank
Figure it
you.
out.
Somebody's
Chris,
buzzing.
it's got to be you. Your lights
I
are.
don't hear buzzing noise.
Oh, I think it's Angeleen. Your microphone was coming.
Yeah, because I was muted whenever it started, so
I was muted.
If I mute, do you hear it?
No.
No,
it goes away when you mute.
And now it's there?
Yeah.
What?
It sounds like wireless. It sounds like a radio.
I was about to speak some truth. It's like a psychic attack or something.
It's so frustrating. My sound stuff has been giving me so much trouble lately.
Let me check your set. Oh, your settings are bumped way up too. All right, see if that helps.
Probably overdriving it.
Better.
Tremendously.
Yeah. Okay. It was like set at 200.
It's much more tolerable by a large degree at this point.
Okay. As long as it's tolerable, I guess.
I think I'm trying to remember, but I think the link, Jeff, that I heard in what you said was. I kind of lost it.
About the glory, like not wanting the glory.
Yeah, but then you said, "Let me think about it," and you said, "Let me go through what I think about this." And
he's like the locus of choice for him is external to himself, and for me it's internal. It's the same. I understand it. I see it visually. I'm working to articulate it. So I guess I'm in the same position he is now. We're both struggling to articulate our positions.
Oh, I was going to say the correlation is that it's in terms of looking at how things are versus how they will be. I think that it shows a difference in. Huh?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I was talking to
I
the
think
comment.
that it shows a difference in it's like kind of like what, not what you're remembered for, but like what you did for others, sort of thing. Like it's not
Yeah,
like
I see what you're
it's
saying.
kind
I
of
mean,
like it's kind of like
I see
legacy,
the
like what you leave behind, but like it's not about you. It's like you can't, legacy isn't about you, but it's like dope as shit.
right. Yeah. No, I see what you're saying there. I mean, there's I don't understand how that's free will, but I mean, I get that. I get
I
that,
mean,
like that viewpoint.
I don't really know either way, but that one, like, I don't know. I just heard it's better to pay homage.
Yeah, I mean,
I heard that's a different form of currency.
No, there is such a thing as self-development. Like at some point, there's something internal that can take over and contribute to the result or the outcome. We're not at the passive mercy. Insomniac Grogu. Who do we have here?
Yeah, it's like, what was it? God makes me God. God made sure I have an 8-pack. Like, no, he didn't, dude. You went to the gym. Come on, let's be honest.
Yes,
You know
I
what I mean?
freely
Like,
exert my will.
Feels
There
like
is a
there's two
degree
different
of it,
things
and
at
I think
play.
that's the debate: is where that line is. There is a degree of
very
it
good,
which I
Jeff.
freely exert. Insomniac, can you pop on camera real quick backstage, or tell us who you are in the? Okay. Welcome.
Hi,
Hi.
Baby Yoda.
it's Dutchie. Yes, exactly. It's Baby Yoda.
this is Duchess. Okay.
Is
Yes,
that
Nice,
Leo?
Oh,
nice,
hey.
Oh, look, the green
nice
screen's on him.
to meet you, Grogu,
you guys.
or Insomniac, or Duchess, or whatever you would go by. But yeah.
Just go by Dutchie, but Insomniac Grogu is just a name that I kind of adopted for myself.
Is that the one you want me to
Okay.
put in the description?
I've
I
got
mean,
my
yeah.
little guy too.
Oh, that's nice. I have one too. It's cute.
Grogu is Baby Yoda is pretty cute. It's kind of impossible to
Yeah,
deny it.
I don't like the name Grogu as much. When they announced the name, I was like, oh, that's kind of a letdown. So to me, it's still Baby Yoda, but Insomniac
Yeah.
Grogu. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, no doubt.
So continue, because I kind of
So
missed what you guys were talking about. There was free will still, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
I had some
you know what's
thoughts on
funny?
that too.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Angeleen. I'd like to hear your
Like,
thoughts.
there's free will. Like, I mean, there is and there isn't, and there's almost two different kinds of free will, I guess, because there's our brain, which is our organ, which I guess gets programmed and wired right from birth, right? So we have these programs running in it as an organ that we could have going off automatically that we're not even aware of. And that can be part of growth, right? Is becoming aware of the autopilots and the programming. And even the wiring in our nervous system and muscle memory can be wired from birth, right? So we can be going on autopilot on a lot of things and
That's true.
becoming
We
aware of that.
don't consciously choose to breathe every second we
Yeah, but
breathe.
I
We
think
breathe
that's
automatically.
There's
influence. I
conscious
don't think
and
it's
unconscious.
control. I don't think it negates my ability
I
to
don't think it does
also
either.
Oh no, I
interact
think
with
there's
that and
also
guide and direct it consciously.
that's why I said there's two parts, right? Because
Yeah.
there's that, but then there's also our own conscious awareness. Like when we're in the present and we are aware of what we're doing and we're trying to be aware instead of running off of autopilot, that's how we can make change, right? Even we can make choices to choose to reprogram ourselves. And there's also like the part, like when you meditate, you observe the stuff going autopilot in your mind, right? Versus just thinking you are what's just automatically going on in your mind. So there's another consciousness part of us. And you were saying about like the double slit experiment. That's interesting too, that, you know, there's the flesh part and the wiring and all the stuff here, but then there's also the part of us like that kind of observes all that. And if we affect energy by how we observe it, then we're also partially creating this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You guys know
You know
the
what?
biggest organ? It's
Yeah.
organization.
It's what? Oh,
I don't know. I just made a stupid dad joke up.
Oh,
Well,
Lord,
it landed.
that was bad.
That's
That
that
was
metaverse.
bad.
Yeah,
That was
that's
pretty
that.
bad, but I mean, I appreciate a bad joke as much as
I
anybody.
thought it was
See,
like
I think
7D.
then I think some of this is semantic because I think that when you say free will and I say free will, we're not talking about exactly the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I just
Okay.
I think we're
And so
I
some
think
of that needs to
I
be
think we
reconciled.
need to almost come up with like a we need
May
to
I
like
offer 2 easy to explain ways to think about it?
sure.
All right. Number 1 is you have free will, but you do not have free reign. The second way is you are an author, but only to an extent.
Or maybe because we live in a capitalist society, we have free will and we have paid will. I'm just kidding.
Slave will. I would,
Chris,
Lanza.
I think
would.
mine was better.
You just said.
Yours was
That
better.
makes
Yours
sense.
was better. Yours was better, Lanza. It was way better. I was trying to compete, but I couldn't keep up there.
Yes, you can.
You know what's really funny? What's really funny is like the song that we use as the opening theme song for this show. And Jeff was at the beginning was talking about like how much he likes the song. The song I made, and like the lyrics to it are literally about what we're talking about. It's just like I just realized that I was like the lyrics to that song literally are about the concept of like how if what you do in the present can change the past, and like or if changing the future can ever affect the past is what it says in the song. And I was like damn, it was like Jeff like talking about that song at the beginning of it. I wasn't thinking about that at all, but then now that we're in this like debate on free will and talking about like choices and in this way affecting the past, it all does seem kind of predetermined
We
in a way,
talked
doesn't
about
it?
that one day on here.
Yeah.
About changing the
I mean,
present
it's like,
past or something.
I mean, seems like you could just like, okay, so you know how there's like on a mirror sometimes they have like a regular mirror, and then you can flip it around and it'll be like a 5x mirror or something.
Oh yeah, like the magnifying. Yeah.
Yeah, you've seen those before, and like I just think it's kind of like that, man. And I think we actually have that ability to be like a little bit, like what, like I mean, saying no free will is saying everything's perfect, and like that's definitely a cop out.
Or that everything is.
I don't know. I've never heard a harder cop out.
Like the waveform has already collapsed. So like whatever the superposition has already for our reality has already collapsed. So it's just playing itself out, and we're just passively a part of it. But that's not how human experience itself.
And that's
not
also
only
not how
appears,
that's not
but
what
works.
science
In
has
reality,
shown.
we would not function or survive if we acted as though everything was predetermined. There's no way.
And that's not what science shows us either.
That's right. I think you might be right on that. I don't know why that sounds right to me.
Have any of you ever looked deep into like astrology and stuff and how fascinating that is?
I was studying
Yes, ma'am.
to become a professional astrologer when I was in my 20s.
Some of that feels like it's like some of it is predetermined. Like we knew what we'd be kind of wired as before.
That's the
we
mirror.
came.
That's like looking up and being like, okay, I can't move that. I can't tell that thing no through that mirror, the small side or like the big side. I don't know. But like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of like an in between or something. Like, yeah, but both. That's the thing is like there's definitely.
Well, here's the man to clear it all up for us.
Yes, here.
All sides, like left and
Video
right.
games for e-thugs. I like the subtitle there.
Metaphysical and spiritual.
Yes. So I read Present Perfect. It's from a Buddhist psychologist who tried to calm people down by claiming the universe is perfect. I read the book. I hated it. If the universe is perfect, then perfection is not good enough for me. It didn't calm me down whatsoever because the state of the universe isn't where I want it. If it's the best you can get, then it's garbage. Perfection's useless. I don't like
it. That's literally what I mean. That was an entire like we don't think of it in that term now, but like idealism. The term idealism comes from a branch of philosophy that literally believed that everything actually it's not just believing that everything should be ideal. It was actually a belief that everything is in its ideal state. no matter what the situation is, everything is as ideal as it can be, and at all times. It's a belief that, like, I can't remember the guy that came up with it, but it was from like the 1600s, something like that. I want to say
Probably Kant.
Yeah, I don't think it was Kant. It wasn't a guy. It wasn't a name that's very famous. But yeah, I mean, Kant is similar.
Oh wait, I tuned out. What are y'all
he
trying to
said it?
find out? I
Okay.
probably know.
Idealism. The word idealism.
Well,
the
there's
term of
metaphysical idealism, which I think was Kant.
I'm talking about the philosophy.
But they had
belief
forms
that
of ideal. Even Plato could like be in contrast to Aristotle, who's more on the idealism side. With
I mean the belief that
George Berkeley and
then the two lenses right there. That's the two lenses, the big lens and the small lens. Aristotle, Plato, Neoplatonic.
Right.
You get like the best of both worlds. There is no one side.
That's what I was trying to say.
It can't be one side, you know what I mean?
You have to put all of this together to come up with the larger.
I mean,
I think we all need to stand in a circle and hold hands.
Reality, not even.
I mean, look. I mean, just the way how light breaks down, right? Whenever you put light through a prism and you see the rainbow of colors that's in just like a wave of white light, there is all the colors of the prism, like, you know, are all present in that white light that you see, despite the fact that you can't see it until you, like, you know, put it through like that piece of glass and stuff like that. Like, but all those colors are all there. They're not being created by the piece of glass. They are already there in the light, you know. And so like they all shape and shape, you know, help shape or give us an ability to see things in different in different ways, I think, right? So I mean, but at the end of the day, if we have no choice, then I just don't understand what the point of anything is. If we have zero choice in anything and everything is just predetermined, I find that to be, it's a very nihilistic philosophy to me. I
mean, if that is reality, if he's right and that's the truth, there's no we can.
I would rather choose. I would rather use my free will to choose to not believe it, even if that's the case.
But you know, but you know these truths. You guys know these truths have built-in like stops in them sometimes.
It's a good thing. Truth is just a feeling, then.
What I'm trying to say is like the built-in stop is. I think at one point we actually all agreed with him because we said that the humbleness in it's basically like not bragging, and it's basically the most highest form of respect possible. If you look at it from that perspective, then obviously that's free will because you have to choose to do that. You're just not born the most respectful, whatever, and there goes your nature and nurture stuff too. But like, I don't know if you guys.
Well, I talked extensively with iFi about free will, and
good for you.
We kind of came to the conclusion that you can be puppeteered your entire life, and if God blames you for it, you have free will. So there's an attribution error.
Can you say that one more time? Once you said you could be puppeteered your whole life, I had to laugh there, and I couldn't.
Yeah. So God could puppeteer your entire life. But if he blames you for it, you have free will. So free will is just attribution. It's just an attribution error.
Yeah, but he also doesn't understand a couple of things, I think.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. That's right.
And he knows it too. He knows it.
I'm not good. We don't want to talk about him. He doesn't come to the panel.
No, he's fine.
Wait, who? What?
iFi.
He knows he knows he catches pushback.
Yeah, I'm okay not talking about him.
It's not about but I don't believe that free will is about control either. I don't believe that so control. You can say that control is an illusion to a degree, but I don't believe that free will is about control. It's still about choice.
Well, I was gonna say, what if it's about assimilation?
Assimilation. Okay, expand on that.
I'm not very. I just say things that sound smart sometimes.
Yeah. So it's really about possible choice or actual
assimilation. Choice. Okay.
I'll just be honest. I'm honest.
Hey, that's it. I respect that. I respect that. So.
He thinks he's bored.
Yeah. So it's free will character history thing, Chris.
Was that?
is free will a counter history thing, like a possible choice they could have maybe made? Is that kind of thing?
I don't. I mean, I wasn't thinking of it in those terms. Give me something to think about that. I mean, I think free will is about like it is about the fact that like in certain there are things that we do that are kind of like outside of like I said, we breathe unconsciously, we do certain things unconsciously. Just the other day on like the panel, just like the other day, I started saying this earlier, like, you know, I was having a reaction to something that Jeff was saying that, and in that moment, and I wasn't reacting to it consciously, aware of like why I was reacting the way I was until I realized it, and then I had to make the choice to like confront myself on that and confront the reality of like the reason I was reacting that way. And I feel like, I mean, if that was programming, I don't understand how that's even like how that programming is. I don't understand how that programming works then, I guess, or something like that. It's very, you know, I had to self-reflect. I had to look at like what I was thinking and how I was feeling, and I had to react, and I had to choose my reaction based on that. I could have ignored it. I could have done a number of things, but, you know, in that moment I decided like, no, I needed to speak up and call myself out for what I was, how I was reacting, because I felt like it was, I was reacting unconsciously. I wasn't really exerting free will in that moment until I grabbed the reins to a degree for a moment and you know, decided to try to confront my own biases based on like, you know, stress and everything that was going on in my life. So
Okay.
yeah,
Guys.
so it's like there, at a point you can live your life without ever exerting your free will, and that's kind of part of your choice though too. That's part of free will, is that you have the ability to not exert it. Just like it's like voting, right? You like voting is every person of a certain age in the country has the right to vote, but you also have the right to not vote.
I see what you're saying.
You have the right to choose between the dead guy and like the crazy person, but you can also choose to not vote for either one of them if you want to, and like that is and like, you know, so like you have the choice to not choose. So I mean, I think if anything that made sense. I don't know if anything that made sense, but
no, it did. It made a lot of sense.
This is so on point right now. Are you sure that you actually have the right to vote, or the ability to vote for the person that you want to vote for? Because people in Russia, I don't think have a choice.
Here we do.
Insomniac Grogu brings up a great point, which I think also correlates with so basically, like, you can either make an action or you can be a reactor. So if you're reacting, there's obviously less of a chance that you would be acting in free will. And there would be more of a chance that you would believe in no free will or something.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
and it's
did
not
not
black
say
and
that,
white.
but I like where
It's
you're
not a
going
strict
with
binary.
yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty on point. Yeah, that's basically what that gets closer to what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I'm usually the acting person, but there's just limits of how much I can affect the universe. So I kind of just think free will's a nonsense concept.
All those are studies. It's not. I haven't heard anything conclusive about neurology just demonstrating that
I'll get
choice
some
are also
scientists on that
reactions.
stat. We're gonna put We're gonna test helium balloons.
But we even choose. But
we're gonna measure the free will of helium in the atmosphere.
I can't choose what happens to me in my life. I do get to choose how I react to it, though. That is the thing. That's the whole thing.
The choice, like you can will your emotions.
Just because our choices are reactions doesn't not mean they're not choices. Like you still choose how to react. Like the terms choice and reaction are not
the experience of agency. Maybe they've never.
Yeah, because it's not an automatic.
You don't have the psychological experience of agency. How are you going to understand it as a concept, as a practical
I
concept.
don't believe that
So,
about Steve. Certainly, I mean, I see. He certainly seems like the kind of person that's had a lot of agency in his life. So I mean, I can't.
That's why his position to me is more strange of all.
so if you want to go skydiving, has anybody ever done that?
Dude, I want to.
I
They
haven't,
have it
no.
here.
Yeah.
It's like they have it.
You
I
did it,
wanted
Chuck?
to, but it's
Oh,
so
that's-
expensive. It's so
Did you
expensive
have
too.
to, or was it a vacation, or?
No, mine was forced when I was in the military. When I was in the military, well, I had a choice whether I wanted to or not. It really wasn't forced. But if I wanted to go work at the White House, then I had to.
Right.
It was encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
You
But it
must have
was
been pretty. You must have had a lot of courage, man. Because I want to do it too, but I just so everyone knows, I saw my friend's mother in Florida. She's like, I think she might be like 70, and she just skydove and like had the biggest smile on her face ever. So, but
I
that
think
brings up
there
the
should be
point.
an age limit, though.
Oh, I don't know.
Like they don't let
Maybe
old
she
people
got some
skydive?
surgery. I don't know. Maybe she got a fake ID. I don't know these days. But
I would protest.
you know, she's getting
No, I
stopped at the
said there
airport. You are
should
not
be.
60, ma'am.
Yeah,
But like,
but there's
so that brings up the point. If you jump out of the airplane, is that you skydiving, or well, you know, free will? That guy's free will of pull. You know, because if you've never done it, you have to have somebody on board with you. So they have to be the instructor, and they have to do it. So it's like that's not even your free will. So it's like it's a stupid debate.
yeah, it is. And there's people who take like
Not stupid.
your
Take that
mind
back.
makes the things real too far, and just assert things that they can't prove, like everything that happens to you.
Well, yeah,
you
they
gave it permission to happen to you, and that's ridiculous.
they take
Alien
it to the
implies
point
blame.
of
Because
it
there's so
being
much
so.
stuff that would totally negate if I had the authority to negate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's a really strange position because like I think that's what we're all saying right now is that
Well,
if you really believe that free will doesn't exist, that's still your choice to believe that, and that's fine. You can believe that, but it's still a choice that you're choosing to react to the world in the way that you're reacting to the world, and the part of that reaction is your choice to believe that free will doesn't exist.
you know what's
I
really
mean,
funny? I can disprove it because if there's no free will and like it all just acts out and shit, that means you don't even have free will over being able to choose if that is like a good situation for you or a bad situation for you, and casting blame around. You can't be casting blame around and believing that there's no free will, dude.
right?
Yeah,
Well, I know.
Unless you
Hey,
program to do
yo,
that.
I'm starting.
Unless you
if
program to do that,
there's
you
no
could be a
free
blame
will, then
casting machine. So
if
no,
you murder somebody, that's not your fault. You didn't choose to. You didn't actually choose to murder that person. You were just reacting based on your past experiences and everything else. And so, whose fault is it that you murdered somebody? I mean, how does that work out in a society in general? Like, how does that not?
You know what?
intention.
It works
Just
out pretty
the
good if you want to
intention.
have a cover-up stuff going on. I feel like
Wait, what? If you murder
if you want to have
somebody?
cover-ups, you want to own media outlets, and you want to, I don't know. I'm just saying there are things out there that say that no free will is an excuse to act stupid, and free will is not an excuse to act stupid. So,
Well, it is.
oh shit, you got me, Hank.
Isn't that why they research and do
Right.
all the things to find out if
Back
it's
to Hank.
premeditated or not?
Right.
Otherwise,
Okay.
it's
So,
manslaughter or-
our opinions are just unevolved. Well, you're not very good at
No,
evolving.
they are evolving. We feel them, we see them.
Yeah.
I feel
If
like
Lanza didn't have
that is
free
true.
will, I'd make him marry Cynthia.
Man, I'll tell
Why
you
would
what.
you
I'll tell you what, man. You always have great ideas. I'll tell you what.
I mean, I think what Duchess was saying. I mean, like it's like like the investigation to do into like whether or not something's predetermined or not. But like at the same time, there are murders that are premeditated and chosen in before, as opposed to ones that happen at the heat of the moment. That's the reason why we have the distinction between second degree and first degree murder. So if there is in this particular system of thought, there is no such thing as first degree murder. There is only second degree murder, because it was always a predetermined reaction that you were going to have no matter what, even if you thought about it for months beforehand.
No, it wouldn't even be second degree. It'd be involuntary manslaughter.
Right.
In that regard.
Yeah. If it's free will, yes, then it
I
would
didn't
be
have free will to blame you unnecessarily without any evidence. I just felt like it.
All right, Talcott.
I was gonna say, then it's kind of like who's in charge. If we don't have free will, then who's in charge, right?
You are.
And if that's source or God or whatever, then is that not also a part of us?
So we are.
So it gets even more confusing because
no, it doesn't though. It links in because we are charged.
We are charged. Wait, what?
We are charged. We are charged. I have a charge. I don't know about you guys. I got a charge.
You mean
I
crime?
have life force energy in me that makes me alive.
I think
like,
which
I think
has a
it's that
purpose.
zooming out and zooming in again, right? Is there
Which has
that
a purpose.
zooming out, that bigger God source thing that kind of sees the bigger picture of everything and what is going to happen, and then there's our smaller selves in which we can make the little decisions within it.
Well, you have a purpose. Everybody here right now has a purpose.
Maybe some people don't. Some people are born and die nothing, and some But even your purpose, you sometimes you choose it. Like you decide, this is my purpose.
Just because you can't, just because we can't see it, doesn't mean that person that lived and died and doesn't seem like they had much effect on the world. It doesn't mean they didn't actually have an effect on the world. Just like in very small ways.
Everybody has a conscious purpose.
It's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like who's counting in a way, right?
Claim. Everybody has a purpose. Is just a claim. I was exploring a claim. Forgive me.
Okay.
Carry on.
No, I wasn't. I didn't mean to. I wasn't. I was just trying to get to the core of it. That's all. I wasn't like trying to down you.
Chris, how dare you bring the rule of Babylon upon us like that?
Just maybe not everyone's aware of their purpose or are in alignment with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could look at like the butterfly effect type thing to see how even someone in a you could see how someone in a tribal culture that has no knowledge of the outside world could make some small decision while hunting that affects this animal, and that causes a chain reaction of effects that whatever the case may be.
It could be as a story. It could be, but there's no way to falsify that.
No, there's not. But there's no way to prove it or falsify it. Yeah, there's no way.
I meant to say the butterfly is like an energy pattern.
Maybe.
Like a neutron or something, or like atom or something.
So if we can choose, Denizen, if we can choose our own purpose, then how do we not have free will?
Because you have a vision. So you can envision something that you're going to do. You can try to do it, and you can fail.
Right.
It doesn't mean you didn't try to do it.
But you chose to try to do it. It doesn't matter if you fail. Like the consequences of your choices aren't the same thing as having a choice.
It does matter because you chose to do it. It does matter. That's why you chose to do it, and that's why
that is what I just said. That's what I just said.
Yes, but then you said even if you failed, you said it doesn't matter, and I say it does matter because you did choose it.
Okay, well I misspoke then, but I mean what I was trying to say is that even if you fail, your choice still mattered. That you set out to try to do something. That's not. I didn't mean it like that.
Matter?
What the?
It matters
hell?
To you.
What does it matter to me?
It matters to actually. It matters. It does matter.
I mean, the fact that I fail can still have an effect. And my failure to enact my will can still affect things around me, and therefore it still matters.
Yeah, for sure.
My free will is leaking from my body at the moment. That's what I have to say about it.
It's what?
My free will is leaking from my body at the moment.
I'm sorry.
Leaking. Plug the hole.
I'm truly sorry, Duchess.
She doesn't make it, like maybe will is fluid.
Wow.
Maybe sometimes it's more
Trying to
free than
envision how
others.
that's possible.
It's fluid. Yeah.
I think she's saying. I think she's saying that we're boring or we're.
No,
that
it
what you
feels like
mean?
we're going circular. Like there's
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Okay, let's agree. Circles are part of life too. Circle of life, they say.
Well,
I mean,
what,
And there's
what-
and there's rhythms and there's okay, whatever.
what's
it's
your
hard
take
to
on it, or
actually
add
get
your
to the
circle?
point
to
Yeah,
it?
please tell us your take on it.
Free will or not? Like we'll never get to that point. Yeah.
Who?
I don't think we'll ever get to the point that we can determine, like, oh, we have free will or we don't have free will, or it's
I think we
predestined.
can.
Yeah, we may not.
Maybe just-
we totally
that's
can.
why-
We just we actually had to do some science.
Do you have are you saying because like you don't control when you have to go to the bathroom that you don't have free will?
I personally don't have control over when I go to the bathroom because I'm neurodivergent. I really need to get that point in my body that I'm like, oh shit, I have to go to the bathroom for like 2 hours already, and then I'm going. So
I see.
there's
No,
some.
I'm mostly.
I
I'm
want-
neurodivergent,
there's
I'm
a
mostly
window I
confident,
have
unless
to
I'm
work
buried
with,
in
but at
work and
some
don't have
point,
time.
the
No,
body's
I
going
see.
to
No,
assert
okay.
itself.
Yeah.
I'm hearing too much voice.
Okay, I see you're not gonna get to the point on free will or not. Okay.
But yeah,
I would just
free
vote on
will,
that
as long as
side of
you have a test from proposition, we can know if we have free will or not. Just most people just
it's so
don't
hard to
know what
do.
they mean enough to make a test with proposition.
Oh, I know how to do it. You prepare prepare for the best. No, wait, you prepare for the worst, but expect the best.
And hope for the best.
Hope for the best,
Expect
right?
the best.
Or expect the best.
Or
Prepare for the
Okay.
worst, but
Big
expect the
That's not
best.
just with free will.
Yeah, that's not a bad like mental attitude to take.
Yeah.
toward
Yeah.
things.
I've done it. It's
It-
helped
it-
before.
you
Trust
can
me.
Which you can choose.
You can certainly choose to
will
believe
a
that.
mental attitude.
Yeah.
It just means anything.
Jack Pop just proved free will. There you go.
Chris, you're killing me. What do you guys want to talk about?
Oh, I don't know.
Are you done with free will? Now that
Yeah,
we're not gonna
it
ever
seems
solve
that
it.
I feel like
What's it all matter? No free will.
And Denizen is really the only one that is very firmly making a claim in one. I think the rest of us are kind of more open to this is what it seems like. This is what my experience of it is. But it's really hard to say definitively one way or the other. Denizen, I think, is the one taking the most dogmatic position and then challenging the rest of us to disprove it.
How do you live life though with that
I don't
particular
know.
attitude? That
Like
you
my
have
whole life, like it is trying to gain as much of a sense of empowerment and agency as I can over my circumstances. So the opposite of that is so foreign from what I'm trying to do.
You could never be happy, I wouldn't think.
I hate feeling like a victim or at the mercy of things, or like that I don't have some kind of control over my like events or circumstances or like I have some power in any situation, and it's just finding what that power is and using it. And so to believe the opposite of that is so disempowering.
Yeah, I agree.
Bro, the opposite of it is that you have all the power all the time.
Then you get the big head and the ego.
No, I didn't say that, but it's possible.
It's a likely trajectory. Maybe not in every instance.
Opening our minds.
Man, you guys Cult and Denizen are just going at it in the comments about who's
I wish they'd
if
come
someone's
up here.
trolling or not. Yeah, me too.
Well,
someone thinks I'm trolling for real, dude.
They can throw peanuts at
I'm
each
tired of this crap. I'm trying out here, man. I'm trying to make sense of
You're
shit.
doing good, Lanza. I got to give you your props for today. You're doing great. You made a lot of things.
Me too. I agree.
You said a lot of things that made sense and had me thinking.
You're opening your mind to the possibilities.
He does pretty good.
As opposed to a closed mind, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Closed
I still
mind
think
is no
I'm
good.
He's pretty good.
I think I'm like 60% what I could be.
60% of what you could be? What do you mean?
I mean, like, with my free will, I'm about 60% free will right now.
Oh.
Are you leaking free will, or are you gaining free will? Like, which one is...
You said leaking or what?
Yeah, leaking. Mm-hmm.
Or what?
It's your will sapping, draining.
Yeah,
What?
you're stealing.
Because
Oh,
eventually,
oh.
even if that you're gonna
Where
get
you
to the
guys
point where you
from?
will yourself a different experience, and then you'll sign off or go to a different panel or take a break or whatever. So at some point, even with your will leaking, it's gonna kick in to react to that leakage somehow.
You are
No,
highly upsetting.
I now I'm lost in the leakage thing.
Man, you guys
Intermission.
caught me. You guys caught me. I don't know how you
Chris.
did it, but you guys caught me. I don't know what to say. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm completely I'm at a loss for words now.
Are you?
What are your guys' thoughts on being in alignment or out of alignment?
That's a
With
good one.
what?
Just
you gotta
like your so being
Your
in
path,
alignment
your purpose,
is
something like
what
that.
makes you feel alive and brings you life-giving energy, brings you life, all that stuff that feels in alignment with your higher self outside of fear. So it's kind of like being in alignment versus being out of alignment where you're like doing what you know you shouldn't do, or you know something's not right, or it feels like it's sucking the life out of you or whatnot. That's what I would consider in alignment versus out of alignment.
With alignment with what? I stepped away. Like the universe?
Anything you do.
Harmony?
Like just like with your with I guess I kind of like your path, your purpose.
Like the flow, like a flow state? Like when you're in the flow, in your flow?
Like a flow in a way. I mean, you know.
I mean, I think that we're destined to go out, as in your terminology, to come out of alignment at certain times, and those are the challenging times we have in our life, and those are the times when our choices matter the most, because it's all about like trying to like figure out like what's wrong and like and what's but sometimes it's not as simple as. I think some people that take that view sometimes take it too far. I've known people that have left marriages and relationships and stuff like that because they just it just didn't feel right or something like that, and maybe that was the right thing for them to do, but it seemed really callous to me at the time. I've seen and I think to some people like that they see that something's out of alignment, they immediately try to make major life changes to change that. And I think that's sometimes the way to. Sometimes you're supposed to be dealing with certain things. Sometimes you're supposed to
we need
to struggle
grow
and fight.
through challenge and adversity. We need some of that in our life.
There's too many variables for you to be in alignment 100% of the time. If you had control of your entire environment, that'd be different. But there's too many variables that keeps us from being in 100% alignment all the time.
Yeah, I agree with Chuck, and I'm trying to right now pull as much power inside me as possible, because pretty much if I had to have other people in the way, there's no possible way I could get in alignment with myself.
In order to be in alignment, I would have to understand what alignment
with yourself, with your higher self, with your
we don't control other people, and I mean we can be in and out of alignment at any time. I agree. It's just I think, and we have to understand too that wherever we go, we bring ourselves with us, and something in us is what has created the circumstances around us. So it doesn't really matter if we just jump out and leave something if we don't figure out what's going on within us, right? So when I say in alignment, I mean for ourselves, like just our own individual moment by moment, what feels expansive or life-giving to us, am I going to say this? Am I not going to say this? Do I want to make this next move or not? Does it doing this repeatedly feel like what I'm supposed to be doing, or can I choose something different that feels more expansive? I guess it's like an everyday moment, but yeah.
See, once again, Denizen, your statement that you just made to Jack's Law is to me is in such contradiction to everything else you're saying. He says It's like what matters more to the point of a life. And you said it's what you make it. But according to your own philosophy, you don't get to make it anything. You don't get to make it.
What
There is no
philosophy
free
are you
will.
talking about?
Exposed himself.
I thought philosophy was making. Like my friend was like, "Oh, I don't like philosophy." He goes, "I like cooking chicken." I go, "Do you have a recipe?" He goes, "Yeah, I love these recipes." I said, "That's a philosophy on how to cook chicken, dude."
How is that a straw man? How is that a straw man, Denizen? I didn't create a straw man at all. I absolutely did not.
That's why you need to be up here.
Now I'm starting to think you're trolling because that's a
What
bullshit
do you mean
argument.
now, bro?
That's
You're
a
gonna be a
bullshit argument.
denizen. You have to actually like reside, like lurk somewhere.
Dude, I was about to ask, is he like the secret producer of the show? Like, how is this guy like trying to pigeonhole us for like an hour? Like, he's getting good answers. I think that's why he keeps doing it. He's like, yeah, this is good stuff. Like, I want to keep thinking about it.
Maybe he's I-Fi's cousin.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
he
think they
just-
both
he
been
just
on panel at
said-
the same time, so they can't be the same person. So at
He
least I know
just
that.
said that if we started talking about Putin, he would come up on panel. So let's talk about Putin, and then we'll just shoehorn this whole conversation back at it.
Go for it.
That's fine. That's
I don't
fine.
have much to say about Putin. I can't control what other people talk about.
Who is this?
But you can come
I
on
mean,
talk about Putin if you want. Say
Vlad
what
TV.
you have to say. I don't know what I'll have in response.
I have a lot to say about Putin, and it's not going to be nice. And I see that there's someone
Yeah, I
in
don't care
chat
for the guy at
named
all.
Vladimir Putin. So, yeah.
I guarantee you, I
Well,
can.
we can have Vladimir Putin.
Are we the
come on.
commenter Putin, or are we talking about the actual political figure Vladimir
The
Putin?
actual political. No, there's actually there has been a mass shooting like today in Moscow. So.
Okay.
Oh, what?
I didn't know that. So I wasn't. I wasn't. I mean,
Is it
I'm not a
related
fan.
to
I'm not a fan of
Putin? Are
Putin
you
either. By the way,
political?
I'm
No,
not
me
the
neither.
commenter. I have no issue with the person.
don't
There was
know-
a
I don't know
terrorist
the person.
attack at a concert hall.
Right.
Wow, at least 40 dead, dozens. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Does it
Hey,
say
guys.
which group?
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm just looking at headlines now. Let me see.
Well, Putin obviously is going to blame the Ukraine for this, but there's also the Wagner group who could have done it. It could also be just disgruntled citizens that do not like the fact that he is reelected again as president. So the possibilities are
Like they're
endless when it
J6.
comes to the people that actually did this. But yeah, it's just the whole situation in Russia, and I'm from Europe. I'm like from the Netherlands, so to me it's closer than it is to you guys, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I mean, like it just in general. Like, I mean, it's hard. Anytime something happens, like, you know, it's close to your hometown or something like that. Even if you're not living there or haven't lived there a long time, it always hits you a lot harder.
Right.
When it's like I live there, you know, I live 20 minutes from there, or whatever the case might be, it always hits you a lot harder. Yeah.
I mean, in the beginning, when the war actually started in the Ukraine, we had like the effects, and it sounds really fucking. Sorry, I'm not sure if I can cuss over here.
Oh,
You
but
can cuss all you want. You can fucking cuss all you want, man.
Great, awesome. Well, okay, it's really fucking weird to actually start talking about the fact, like, oh, I was so affected by the war in the Ukraine when our grocery stores were basically just empty because we depend on, like, you know, the wheat and everything from the Ukraine. So
Yeah.
it's weird how something that affects another country can affect the rest of the world, or at least some part of the world. So yeah, I don't
We're
know.
all kind of interdependent in a way.
Sorry?
I said we're all kind of
interconnected
in a way at this point in history.
Of course. And the weirdest part is that even though the United States is like the youngest country in like world history, everybody looks at the United States, and everything that happens over there happens 5 years later in my country, for instance. Like, we're going the exact same direction. So everything that happens with you guys is like a glimpse into the future of what my future is going to be in 5 years from now.
Do you think you'll have the power to change that? Like, speaking of will, or is it? like you're at the mercy of that pattern.
I think I'm at the mercy. I don't think I have free will when it comes to world leaders and the heading that I can make the conscious decision to leave. But then still, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm like really into the whole free will debate. I'm not sure if I agree to it or if I disagree to it. I'm still like on the fence, I guess.
That
I
might not be.
just want to shout out the cult of culture there, man. Like I want to let you know that I think your comments are valuable in the comments. I'm sorry that you feel you're being trolled. Like we're certainly not trolling you here from the panel. I just want you to know. Like I thought your comments were I've agreed with many of your comments.
Like,
yeah, I think he is too. I just want to just give him some support just because I think he felt a little bit, he felt like he felt like he was getting made dog pile a little bit, but by Denizen and somebody else. But
well, that's way more considerate of you than I would expect from the stream. So I guess that's nice.
I try to be considerate to everybody in the stream.
Yeah,
I always say, except for until they prove themselves to be completely fucking like useless and until they turn into iFi, and then I turn on them. I turn on them hardcore. So. I used to be, as I said before, I used to be, I think, the biggest iFi booster. I was always like saying, "No, I love iFi being on the panel. I love him being here." And then it turned into like, no, like I don't even know. Like he'd show up and I won't.
What do you want us to do? Block him? Shut him down? Like just because you don't like what he's saying? He's contributing to the conversation. You might not like his style or agree with him. I don't. But
I hope I didn't make Lanza mad.
Bringing down the
I don't know what happened to Lanza.
Really, I've hidden very few people, but in the past when I have, it's because they were cursing out guests or other people in the comments. Like they were just being really hateful. And that's about it. Other than that, I don't want to constrain somebody's.
There's only been a few that's been that way.
Yeah, really, a handful, like 3 or 4.
So the cult of culture, just because you don't like what he's saying, he must obviously have been trolling. That's kind of like a weird statement. And
I like our chatters. I like you, Cole. I appreciate your chat. I'm happy with our. I went for a different audience at first, and I got this one instead, and I wouldn't trade it for anything anymore.
You got a good group, Joe. Mostly.
I don't know, Lanza. If something made you mad, I'm not sure what, man. Like I thought everything was going fine.
I made that joke and he left.
Oh, I missed that completely.
I didn't even hear you make a joke.
Lanza's a big boy. He's great.
I said Lanza must be iFi's cousin, and then he disappeared.
Oh,
I thought you said Denizen was iFi's cousin.
No, Lanza. I said Lanza.
I thought you were talking about Denizen. I didn't even think you were talking about Lanza. I thought you were talking about Denizen. That's what I thought.
I was just making a joke, with all bad joke.
Oh, I didn't even. I wouldn't even caught it like that. I don't know why Hank did the Irish goodbye today either, but he does it all the time. So.
Oh, he is gone.
Always. When does he not do Irish goodbye? Every now and then he might type something in the comment, but
yeah,
mostly, most of the goodbyes around here are Irish. Of the Irish kind, unless we're like all wrapping up together at the end.
I mean, I always try to say, well, the only time I ever Irish goodbye is whenever my connection goes out and I can't get back on.
It started as a mental health channel, and then I was going for like philosophy, like really deep dives into philosophy topics with philosophy geeks and nerds, and it like really dry and abstract, and it turned into this. Is even more of what I was looking for and didn't.
Philosophy is a never-ending story.
It's right. I mean, if we ever assume that we've actually nailed philosophy, we've got philosophy covered, we understand it all, then it's a dead thing. It has to be philosophy is a conversation, right?
Well, we have Denizen right here.
Denizen is finally joined the panel. Thank you for joining, sir.
It's about time.
Okay, he's here to enlighten and illuminate. Do your thing.
And I'm not kidding. I genuinely am trying to understand your perspective, man. I have not been. I wanted to make that clear. I'm not like
Or he wants to talk about Putin, one or the other.
Oh, we can talk about Putin if you want to. That's fine. I don't have much to say about it, but you're welcome to say what you want to say about Putin. Hello, are you there?
Or not.
Has Denizen joined the chat, or has he left the chat?
He's trolling.
No. That's not troll. Silence isn't trolling, is it? Is silence trolling?
He might be.
Oh, that's a new thing now, Chris. In case you hadn't noticed it, people go up on other people's panel and just sit there and not say a word.
I have not been going to other people's panels in a little while here. I've been too focused. I pretty much I have time for this show, and I don't have much time. I haven't had much time lately for anything else. Like I've been even out a lot of times, like when this show has been starting stuff. So I've been really having to schedule my time as carefully as possible, especially with my horrible ability to not sleep properly. Like I slept really well the night before, and then last night I slept barely slept. I slept like an hour last night.
Part of that is like self-care. I was thinking about burnout the other day, that like you seem headed towards some kind of burnout if you don't.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm trying really hard to perform self-care best I can. It's just like, but it's just like a lot's going on in life. It's just one of those,
stress.
We're just kind of on the verge of everything being really okay, but right now everything is precarious because we haven't gotten word yet about Lindsay's disability thing or anything like that, and we're just waiting. We call that line every day to see what, and every day it says they just still haven't made a decision. So it's just what's taking them so long and shit like that.
It's a slow process. It's nothing. It's nothing in particular. It's just the bureaucracy itself. The wheels grind slowly.
Yeah, it is totally that. I mean, and that's what the lawyer said too. And
I understand that state of that precarity and the unknown. It's a very anxious place to be.
It's very anxious, and I'm already a very anxious person. So I've been in a state of high anxiety, and even with my blood pressure medication, and everything. I think my blood pressure must be.
Speaking of will and agency, are you taking conscious steps to maximize your chances of having it go the way you're trying to make it go?
Yeah, I mean, I've got my personal, Lindsay's she's gone through everything. It's she doesn't have anything left. She's just have to judge his decision left. I have my thing upcoming in a few days at the 27th. And then in terms of self-care type stuff, I mean, I was doing last night actually. I was feeling a lot better, and I still feeling better. I'd feel better today if I'd actually been able to sleep last night, but I couldn't sleep all night. I just
we get plenty of high quality panelers. Thank you very much. I'm very proud of our.
Lol, that's such a wow. So you're the high quality paneler, Cult of Culture. Damn.
And one thing I have learned doing this live streaming thing, you learn to embrace your trolls. You don't
until they become abusive.
Fight them on their own terms. You're not going to win a battle against the trolls if you try to just think you're going to do it your way. And so that's what we do around here. We have our trolls that
I don't think he wasn't trying to misinterpret what you're saying, Colt. I mean, why don't you come on up, Colt? I mean, Denizen.
Come add some quality.
No, I mean, because I really did like your comments that you were saying earlier whenever we were talking about the free will thing. I really did say that I really do like a lot of the things you were saying. I
agreed with you actually on the free will stuff. What?
So I really. Well, some people are going to have negative attitudes.
He has to be talking about the one who sarcastically criticized him. He's obviously not talking about the other lady on the panel.
I know, but still, I'm just saying that's okay though. I'm just saying, I don't necessarily agree that her attitudes.
What's a hater?
So saturated in his own personal experience that any other perspective is immediately an attack on the very foundation of his whole personality.
Who are you talking about?
So because I'm
the Cult of Culture.
Because I'm saying that the Cult of Culture basically just talked down on the entire panel.
Right.
Some panelists will not come up because they are high quality and they will not be caught on a panel who are obviously panel trolls or whatever, I'm now all of a sudden negative. I am.
Oh, audio.
You have a lot of feedback. Your phone is too close to your device, I think.
Yeah, I think it might be Angeleen. You move your
Yeah,
cell phone away from your computer.
I'm the bottom of the barrel, so everybody's
I don't
above
know.
me.
Tomorrow night we might be doing a panel again. The thing link HVLT or whatever. If you want to come dance again.
This, and we've had this conversation before. This might not be the panel for you. This is just a certain style of panel.
Yeah, and there's the gaslighting too. That wasn't her negative interpretation. It was obviously what you were implying.
My opinion is not negative or positive. It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
You can deal with it, or you can just let it go. It's not.
It's it's his negative opinion that I'm a troll.
Right. And now I'm trolling because
it's his choice how to react to that.
I think that is kind
So he's literally projecting his negative outlook on others.
Him if he's not in control of his reaction, you should be more compassionate.
He isn't because
how am I not compassionate? Who said I wasn't compassionate? I understand exactly what he's doing. I'm describing it out loud.
This is the problem with someone who basically sees themselves as a better fucking panelist. They will not understand when someone is not agreeing with them and will then claim that they are negative and everything is wrong with them, not with the person making the claim. No, it's all the other person, all subjective reality and finger pointing.
Not for him. He's correct.
I don't give a fuck. I
wish we had flow state's little clip, like the little clip of the guy shooting the other guy, like saying
we need to get some going.
One less
reason
negative
I
person in the
don't
world
think
thing.
he's trolling Cole, is because there's an entire live stream of him and Steve, Jarrett, Jordan, and me and Chris having the same conversation.
Bruh,
He's very
there are
things
100 live streams. There are hundreds of live streams of me doing this for decades before he even learned how to get on the internet. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but he's so certain of it, and that's what I find fascinating.
How old are you, Denizen? If there's been decades of it,
I'm in my early 40s, and I've been on the internet since I was around 10.
You haven't been alive. I mean, live like open panelverse hasn't existed that long.
Panelverse, no, but you know.
Did you have an AOL account at 10?
He's
like 13
going on.
I did.
I had a few different accounts when I was 10, but AOL was one of them.
BBS account.
A what?
Oh, did you?
BBS before AOL.
JC. He's been summoned from the void.
Check.
Say what, bro?
You may need a reality check.
Yeah, I'm sure. Are you going to be the one who's going to give it to me?
Well, Joe, if you feel overdressed,
all right, I'm ready.
Just take off the shirt, man. Just pop it open, you know, and just like, come on.
Oh, I think I'm stupid. So we should make that clear.
You're overestimating yourself.
BBS was the original Reddit back in the day when all you could do was
the bulletin board system.
It was the really geeky computer nerds talking to each other.
BBS systems. I mean, like they still exist to this day. By the way, like you can, there are still BBS systems that still exist to this day. Like it's actually where
and then came IRC and AOL and all that.
Yeah, they're mailing this now, Chris.
Not that I know anything about
I used to be on some of those what are they like the
bulletin boards,
like the bulletin boards, like the alt bulletin boards and stuff like that. It's kind of like what 4chan ultimately turned into, like, you know. But that's where still to this day, it's where a lot of like piracy and stuff comes from. A lot of pirate groups, they distribute their stuff through bulletin board service style stuff, and then it makes it to torrent type.
What's it called? To use
torrent.
No, we'll use torrent to transfer, but to organize it, they use Matrix. I think it's called Matrix to organize.
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, I haven't heard Matrix, but I mean, it doesn't surprise me if they've changed the terminology.
Element.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that. That's interesting. What do we say? Like, what'd you say, Moose? You missed my wrap up about you wanking and thinking, bending over homies, ladies over a spanking, never thinking about nothing but do that shit because Joe will never. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, dude, but like whatever.
He got a hold of some
He
bad
did,
dope.
JoeC. He did.
He got a
the
hold of
panel
some
is
bad
what it
dope.
is.
But I can't argue with that because, you know,
like it. If you
I
don't
can
like
be
it,
more
go
stupid
find
than
another
stupid.
panel. I don't know what to tell you.
It is a possibility.
I know what to tell you.
I could agree
Tell them to
with
start
that.
your own panel. If you don't like the panel, start your own.
Yeah.
Who's
Or
saying
come
that
up
he
here and
doesn't
change
like
it.
the
If you don't
panel?
like what, come up here.
Colt
make
is
it go in
saying,
the direction.
open.
and
Well,
he's not being honest. He's upset right now. He's trying to direct he's feeling a certain type of way, and he wants me to feel that way. So now the panel's ruined because I'm up here and I'm a little.
I like Colt personally.
and I've ruined the whole panel. Now
I do too. I just think it's I just think it's weird. Like everybody on this panel more or less agrees with the things he was saying about the discussion we were having. So he would be on a panel with people that are on his side. So like,
well, he's not upset with you though. I upset him by challenging his dogmatic beliefs about free will.
You and the hater,
so like
you and the hater lady.
My opinions upset a lot of people.
I'm a hater, definitely. I'm
you're
fucking negative.
Yeah. Right, because she called him out for his bullshit by saying the panel's ruined because I came up. So she called him out for that, so now he doesn't like her either.
What kind of vape you vaping on?
I am just vaping on pure nicotine, basically. I think it's tobacco, actually.
It's a tobacco one?
Yeah, it's tobacco, just a normal one. I don't know.
I never could do anything, but the only ones I could ever do were like a really clean menthol or mint.
Yeah, I don't like the flavors. I had one. I think it was peach or mango, and that one I actually liked.
MoOse.
MoOse.
What'd you say about bad dope, Chuck?
I said Moose must have got a hold of some bad dope today. The way he's typing.
Or some good.
No, I'm just working on my new rap career. Shit, I figure if these little kids could do it, I could do it too.
Rap is
Wait,
crap.
hold on. Is that
well? I mean, I did rap for a while, and I can't say it worked out that well for me.
Okay, Colt, we're gonna nip this right here. If there's trouble,
I
why are
promote
you
MoOse's
hanging out
channel
here?
in my
Why are you
Discord.
exposing yourself to this source of trouble?
We've been on panel with MoOse, right?
You have the will
a
and
couple of
agency
times, yeah.
to control how much that's gonna affect you today.
Clearly not. Right now, I have far more agency over his behavior than he does. I mean, that's clear.
Well,
no, he's no.
That's
control.
making your point more than anything.
I'm puppeteering him. He's trapping forever.
He's even accusing me of it and not realizing the irony in it, right? Because if I were a troll, the whole point would be for me to come in here and elicit some response from that fucking guy, right? And that's essentially what he's accusing me of because I am doing that. However, that's not the intention, which is why I'm not a troll. The intention was merely to describe to you what I think about free will based upon the available evidence.
So, so that guy's trapped here forever. He can't just hit the X on his tab or something. So...
this is the right thing to do.
You're right. He's trapped here forever.
The responsible thing to do. Change the channel.
Wait, hold on. So Hank
yes, if any ideas challenge your beliefs and make you upset, don't listen to them.
I mean, I don't think that for me, I don't give a fuck if you're here or not, because if I like this panel, I will definitely be here more often. So I guess that's a loss for you then.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you.
And I hope you are. I hope there is anybody that comes to panel and in good faith and tries to contribute and tries to actually add to the conversation. I encourage them to come as much as they possibly want to. To show up every day. As soon as it starts, stay on the whole time. I say come be another co-host. I don't care.
I would argue right now that there is one troll at the moment, and that's the one in chat telling you guys that they will not be back because some people are on panel they don't like. So
he kind of reminds me of what's his name?
Is that Texas?
The dude's that name starts with an
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Oh, so you're not going to Texas? You didn't even stop by to visit. I'm so hurt, MoOse.
He was always claiming he was the original X. I can't remember his name. Exiled. That's what that.
Exile?
Yeah, he reminds me of Exile. That wouldn't be surprised if it's one of those people. You know?
No,
I
it's not Exile.
belong.
No, I don't think so. JoeC, get your ass up on panel. Come on.
As far as how I feel
go.
about
Come and
the
talk
results,
about
it's disappointing the way you're acting. But I would like for you to come up on the panel and have an actual discussion.
Yeah.
I don't.
I like both of
Yeah.
you, frankly. And I
Yeah, me
wish
too.
y'all
I like
could
both
come
of you
up
too.
and
I don't
talk
take
about
it personally. You got to figure I don't believe in free will. I'm the only person on the panel and the only person in the chat who doesn't believe in free will.
Well,
Therefore, you have to imagine what it's like to be me. I'm
that's
used to
not
it.
entirely true. I think free will is completely incoherent as a concept, so I can't
Right.
believe in it if I
She
wanted
she
to.
didn't chime
Right.
in. She's
So there
welcome.
you go.
She
2
was
versus
equal of a participant as everybody else. And when
2
she
versus 10.
contributes, it's not chiming in.
You guys are giving way too much attention.
I think it's interesting.
Why do I have a negative judgment? Just because I don't agree with your assessment on someone doesn't mean that it's negative. It's my opinion. The fact that you base it on either being positive or negative is
Sorry.
something that you need to deal with. It's not my problem. I just gave my opinion. That's it. And it's up to you if you want to do something with it. Apparently, it really fucking bothers you that I have an opinion. I'm sorry. I'm opinionated. And yes, I am a troll. However, right now, I'm not. I'm actually on good behavior. I'm on really good behavior right now.
This is like the troll respite where they come to take a break from the
Kinda.
trolling.
This is like free space. This is like a safe space for me.
And just to be clear, I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at what JoeC said in the comments.
No, it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, you can
Yeah,
laugh.
but I was laughing at what JoeC's comment. It's just like
What's sad is I gotta pay to be here. Oh.
You're not paying me.
Wait a
God,
second.
No,
Who are you paying?
Chris
Who are you paying?
Chris is charging me for panel time.
Oh, am I? Dude, I'm not getting the checks. God damn. I think we need to have a talk about my address then. Like I'll give you my Venmo or something. You must be sitting in the wrong place. I think somebody must have gotten you.
I'm sorry. It's this. Hey, when I created this, I
$700
specifically put in the description. This is an unsafe space.
Now he's
So
the
if you're looking
victim.
for a safe space, you're in the wrong corner.
Think here's the circle of
Victimology.
projection is complete now because he started off calling me a victim.
I am sorry that I took your safe space away, Cult of Culture. And
I'm
at the
not.
same time, I think that you need some kind of help in the form of maybe some cuddle puddle. I don't know.
Just
Find
needs
some.
to take a few deep breaths.
Maybe do a
Ponder
little
the
masturbation
possibility
session.
that you are not the authority on the entire fabric of the universe, and then once you're calm, come up on the panel and just talk to us like we're human beings, and then we'll
I
have a better
changed it
understanding of where we're coming from.
I changed the phrasing recently, but if you go look back at the older streams, it says an unsafe space for neurodivergent, whatever.
Well, don't you got a
Well-
crying room somewhere,
I
Jeff?
have to go put it back.
We
in
need
the
a cuddle
description.
puddle for the Cult of Culture. Jeff, I did have
You're-
a question for you because I see you like rocking back and forth. And don't get me wrong. I hope you don't take offense to it. I'm neurodivergent myself, but what kind of neurodivergent do you have? Are you?
I'm all of it. The rocking autism, ADHD, giftedness, all the clusters.
Usually, if I'm rocking back,
2E,
it's my
twice
arm, and
exceptional,
it's, you know,
PDD, NOS.
But why do you rock back and forth? This is like a
I don't
self-soothing thing?
notice that I do it at all. So when I'm doing it, I'm not even aware I'm doing it.
If you can
Stimming.
see it, I have my
Stimming,
thinking
yeah.
tube at the moment. So for me, this is like my self-soothing thing. But
Yeah.
rocking back and
I
forth.
chew these to shreds when I need to.
Dude, I used to do that when I was like in grade school. I chewed so many pens that I had a blue tongue.
I remember those days.
Jeff rocks and then my leg shakes. You can't always see it on camera.
Yes,
my leg
leg
is usually
shaking.
my
That's
my,
what I used
my
to
leg
do.
my leg shakes like all the time. Like I'm always in here
Yeah.
just like shaking my
Yes.
leg. So like I mean it's
restless leg.
we're
I mean,
both like we both have like a similar form of I don't know mine's on ADHD, but I mean I'm on the
Yeah.
spectrum I'm sure too. But
Smoking
I have
copious
ADHD.
amounts of nicotine. That's the only thing that can make my legs shake less.
copious
Yeah,
amounts of
it stopped
Yeah.
working for me. I need to stop smoking again. I've
Well,
quit
I've
so many times
actually been
before,
thinking
but
about it because I've stopped smoking. Like, well, I still vape, but I've stopped smoking cigarettes like 2 years ago now. I've actually been thinking about it. Maybe that will help, like calm down my anxiety. Oh my god,
What is that? Is
That's
that some little
that's
Harry Potter toy, Chuck?
that's
Oh
my
my!
son's STEM
That's your.
toy.
I love it.
it's
oh,
the golden
that is
shit
a
spinner.
really cool fidget spinner. That's a really cool
It
fidget
is
spinner.
really
But
That really
cool.
you
That's
is.
the kind of stuff I can play with
you
all
can
day.
you can put it down, give it a spin, and the thing will stay in one spot. And you can just
That's not a fidget
it.
spinner. That's a bunghole twirler.
A bunghole.
This is my son. My son's got
Oh,
autism. He's got all
I like
kind
My
of
it.
fidget
It's cute.
devices.
I'm ADHD and borderline autistic too. And my purse is just loaded with fidget toys for me and my kids. But like, I have the spinners and the silly putty and the everything, anything magnetic. I'm
Oh,
fine.
Everything.
all these seem so
and
normal
then
to me.
and then we got this guy. Let's see if I can get him on camera. Watch his eyeballs.
Yeah,
I
that's
like those.
definitely a bunghole bandit right there.
I like those.
Him
Different
dual
kind of
use.
toy, MoOse.
And if you put him in like those computer chairs
If
that
you put him in,
spin,
his eyes will blaze
it's
out.
like there's a motor on it. He'll make that thing fly in circles while he's sitting
Oh,
in it.
you
And
son
he
will?
does,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've broken
And he
so many.
doesn't do it on purpose. It's just how he wired.
Yeah,
He's got all kind of fidget devices around here.
Sorry, Chuck. I didn't know you were showing us your son's stuff. I thought you were showing us your
Oh,
right
now
drawer closet. You know, that right
here
drawer.
you go. Here you go, MoOse. My pink shake weight.
Is
Shake.
that what you hold
Wait.
to help you bend over?
wait, hang on.
I can't bend over.
I know. So you use the
How did the
weights to
commercial go?
help you get over.
The commercial for the shake weight. The one
Yeah,
from
I'm trying to
South
remember
Park?
it now.
That was what
No, the real one was funny
ShamWow
enough.
guy, or
I don't know.
Oh, that's the same guy, the ShamWow person? Is Shake Weight?
I can't
Nah.
remember.
No,
Oh, it's not. It's been
it's
so
not.
long since I've seen it.
Nothing beats the 1991 or 1989 version of the Bust a Nut Corn Nut commercial.
Oh,
my.
what?
Bust a nut, grab a bag of corn nuts and bust a nut.
Was this?
Yeah.
Did we grow
I
up in
don't
the same?
remember that
Was
one.
this in Maine?
Can we talk
This
about my
fucking
being
guy.
black? Can we
Nah.
talk about
Oh,
my
Yeah,
God
being
bro.
black?
Yeah,
Mr.
Of
Joe.
Okay, I
course.
just want to let everybody know that we're going to be
This is our
talking about
reparations
racism for the rest of the panel
Who
now.
let
Yes.
who let the black man up here? Come
Welcome
on.
to
I
JoeC.
did.
Now, for the rest
Why
of the
is
panel,
this
we're going to be
conversation
watching
about
bloods
race?
go off, and we're going to be hearing some laughing here and there. And then we're going to hear, hey, calm down, buddy, especially if Jack Talcott's around.
I know race
Oh,
exists because sometimes I feel like I'm blacker than Joe Cool.
Oh, shit. Race doesn't exist because I got bad knees.
And then you realize that it was the centimeter side of the
So,
ruler.
Joe, I have a question for you that has been on my mind for a while when we talk about this stuff.
Yes, 8.5 inches long. Yes, it's true.
Oh my
You in
god.
particular.
What? He asked. What?
That's
No, he did not ask.
He didn't ask. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
With
ahead.
Yeah.
you, so the stereotype is not
Is
true.
it
Is what you're saying.
8.5 inches
So
of beef
with
stick,
you
or are we
in
talking like
particular,
little twig here, or what? We talking
I didn't hear your
salamanders?
question. I was laughing in my head, Jeff.
this is
Are we
this is my
talking
question.
garden snake or like venomous anaconda?
I'll show you. It's all over the internet.
Bye, Cole. We'll see you next time. Joe, this is what I'm curious about with you in particular. In your situation where you're having these negative encounters with white people and whiteness or whatever.
I'm having some issues, guys. I'm gonna drop out and come back.
Hang on. Let me get my question out. How do you know it's the skin color and not you? Your personality, you can be loud sometimes, you draw attention to you. How do you filter out what's race and what's you?
All I have is my discernment, and it's very good because I have such a sense of humor. Most shit, and I'm smart. I shouldn't have said that. But most shit I
Oh,
attribute to
no.
other things.
I
Wait, I
I
want to hear.
do.
smart motherfucker.
Most
I'll
shit
tell
I
you that.
attribute to other things. I take those things into consideration, calculate where this dude come from, all of that shit. I don't use
Okay.
that shit lightly.
Okay.
Uh,
I trust. I believe you. So it's
People,
not just
but
the
people
chips
do the
you
hard
spread
R in
around. You
front of
do
me. I
just.
don't see racist. I don't jump them and say that racist. I don't, there was no intent there. They're not racist. It's
The
So
just,
only
when you are
time Joe
experiencing
Cool ever brings
racism,
up race is when it comes to music in the bedroom.
What?
I
What?
don't know what that means.
Because
What does
he's
that
I don't
have
know.
to
definitely
do with
not going to
anything?
be listening to the white man's country while he's going to town
Do
on
you
some of his
ever
wife.
You,
play Led Zeppelin when you're making love, JC?
you know my woman's white, and no, I don't play no Led Zeppelin rock and roll shit. I do the hip hop R&B shit though.
Exclusively, huh?
I got a
What is
playlist.
other
Yes,
than
I
Barry
do.
White? What is your What are your top recommendations that get the job
So
done?
I don't want to go there because it'd be embarrassing. All I listen to is like drill music and shit like that.
Hey
Post
Oh
Joe,
my
Malone.
what
God.
about
Like
would
color
you
guard?
Drill
would you
music for in the
film
bedroom, Joe Cool?
would you
Really?
film your next production with
I
Drilling
told
for
you I
the
Tom
shouldn't have
drill.
said it.
McDonald song while
What
you're
is
going from behind?
Well,
I'll
that's
produce
him.
that shit. I'll do it for you.
You gonna produce what for me?
I
Oh,
said you got to do it to a Tom McDonald song while you're taking her from behind,
uh,
and
you,
and
you,
I'll sell it to the masses for you, Joe.
MoOse.
that's funny. He said, Tom Mack, Jeff, this should interest you because it interests me. Apparently, I'm abrasive or something. Whenever Tom Mack drops a new song, all of my friends, all good people, I get at least half a dozen texts about the new song. One of my white buddies is trying to tell me something.
Does he have a new one?
I haven't got any texts, so I doubt that
Who?
he does.
Hey
I don't
Joe,
even
we
know
could just
who he
put the
is.
I
sound
think the
effects
last one I
on
saw is the one he did
iTunes,
with
and I'll
Ben
get you a
Shapiro.
#1 Billboard
No,
hit.
no, no. He has a new one. Tom McDonald dropped a new
Oh,
like 2 weeks ago.
let me
Called
look
The
it up.
Machine, I think. It's a good one actually.
Nah.
Good song.
I
And
wish
by
we could play him.
I think he gets it right as much as he gets it wrong, or vice versa.
I mean, yeah, sure, but still, lyrical wise and
Oh,
just
the
the fact
machine.
that he's independent, kind of, I'm
E-
infatuated with him.
Even more
Is
than
he
that,
white
I
or
would say
black?
he's a
He
white cat.
white.
Like,
Even
Well,
more
white
than
Oh,
skin.
that,
We
okay.
don't know what he is
the
inside.
the the topics that
He's
he
being mean.
chooses, I'm all down, and the way he approaches them, I'm down, all down. Who's supposed to agree with everybody all the time? It's not going to happen. But you can't overlook that. It's like Tupac shit. He found a genre and covered it.
Yeah.
Tupac say found a weakness in the rap game and sold it. That's what
And
he
I
did. He
miss the
found
old
something that was missing, and he
I
put it
miss
there.
the old Tom McDonald too, who was kind of on the fence.
I haven't
Yeah, I
listened to
saw
him
the
in a while, I guess.
documentary.
The new Tom McDonald's kind of like you said, he found a niche and he ran with it.
He's trying to be formulaic and shit.
I don't think he's being disingenuous though. I just think
Sticking to the formula.
if you're going to be countercultural in this environment, you're going to be there's a definite slot
Flexible.
there. It's
I'm-
defined.
I've never not been countercultural, so it's easy for me to be countercultural in any environment.
You
That's
are
usually what
the
takes.
white bread culture guy. What do you mean counterculture?
Yeah, I
you
would
put
say
that.
no.
I don't even believe that
You're
statue over your
cultural.
shoulder.
Me, white
Yeah.
bread culture guy.
Yeah,
I don't even believe that
Culture
statue over your
changed in the
White
shoulder.
bread
last
people
20
hate
years,
me.
Jeff.
Oh, come on! Like
Joe Cool
Jeff is
stamp of
Cajun as
approval.
fuck.
That's the
Cajun is
one
much
culture
different than
Earn
white
the
He
white
people.
is
pepper that
not
you approve.
Fagin.
Cajun. He's
Oh,
Cajun.
No, I'm as
He's
marginalized as you
Cajun
are.
as fuck, and like
I
it's
believe
much
it
different than.
because you're a nice guy, because you're gay, because of your heart, and you're
White
brave with
bread.
the shit you say.
Ooh,
But motherfucker, you know, come on, man.
I've
You
never
know,
been mistaken for a white person. That's a
I mean,
first.
I'm as white as they come. I'll say that. I mean, I'll own that. But like, Jeff has definitely got He's got
Jeff
he's got a lot of, that Cajun part of him is very strong influence on his
Jeff looks way
on his
whiter.
I was
personality
talking
and stuff.
about his affiliation, affinity towards government and structure and
You
statehood and
consider that
status.
white? You bought the narrative that that's whiteness. That's for all colors of people. Like the American system of government has been for all people for a while now. So, like to see that as something.
Oh, did I make that
Shit, I
jump
don't
from
even think
color?
it's for white.
White bread.
I didn't know I made the jump that we were talking about color to government. I hope we'd
You
already
said
made it.
that you were thinking of the government stuff, like me liking the government.
Yes, you are the.
I found
Yes.
this
Makes me
yesterday.
white. Makes me
I would say that
white.
makes you cultural, not countercultural.
Oh, my white bread comment. That must be
See,
talking about.
counting.
No,
This is counting cultural.
what
no,
threw me
but
off.
when you think about it, the guy that you see is some white dude in a suit or some bootlicker or something, and that dude's white. I'm aware that every fucking race is full of bootlickers and all of that bullshit, but I'm like, you fit them fucking mold, man. If you buttoned up your shirt and fucking put on a hat, I think
Mainstream.
you sold stocks.
Yeah.
There you
Hey,
go,
Joe,
stereotyping.
are you going to
Yeah,
Talcott
that's my
today? Make
criticism of
sure
a
he's
lot of
good.
this. Is it seems like very shallow
I'm no
stereotyping. that
worse.
Shows like Sesame Street went out of their way to try to teach you not to do.
I think you have a lot of mainstream thinking and beliefs just from the few weeks I've gotten to know you. That's what I would say.
Mr. Joe Cool does.
And I think I'd be agreeing with that.
Joe
Yeah, I
Cool
guess
is
one
this
thing I have learned from
generation's
doing these
Malcolm
streams
X,
is
bro.
I'm way more normal and mainstream than I realized that I was.
I think you're absolutely wrong. Not only that, you're like sweet. And no offense,
well,
Whoa.
remember
no
that when you
offense, Chris,
I think he's
in a
hitting on
way
you,
that
Jeff.
in a way that you're
Yeah, I'm
not.
gonna go get a
No, I don't
refill.
mean it that
I'll,
way. I mean
talk.
like Jesse. He's got heart like most of us are missing. And Chris, I couldn't even
Joe!
add you in that category.
Did you just compare me to Jesse?
Yeah, you
And I
cats
can't
got a
even
heart.
fight back
He
against it.
can't. He
I
said he
got
couldn't include me in that
right
category.
here.
So
I'm
That's
gonna find
right.
it.
I mean, it's a
I'm gonna
real.
go get my refill.
I thought everyone. I thought I was the one that was too nice, but I guess I'm not.
You're a nice guy, but that dude has heart.
Oh,
Right? I'm a nice guy, but I don't know. I'll jump you in a heartbeat. Fuck.
Joe's not saving your life, but he'll watch you drown and he'll film it for you.
I'll definitely film this shit.
Joe will
Posterity.
also help you find your will.
In a way, I think cats like this are closer to God too, man. I think Jesse, the cats who are, unless I characterize dude wrong, he'd be quick to forgive and that type of shit. I think
Or
those guys.
maybe Joe, look at it from this perspective. Maybe we're selfish. You know what I mean? Because you're strong. Maybe we're weak. Like you could watch somebody die and just walk away cold and just not even care, right? But people like me and Jesse, we wouldn't be able to do that. You're a cold-blooded killer, aren't you, son?
I don't know about that, but there's some truth to that. But I think that just comes with being old and seeing shit happen a lot.
You see enough shit, and you stop getting as affected by it. That's true.
Yes, when I hear racial words and so and so's and the way I talk, I am thinking mostly of descriptors, and the person who I say that black man brings baggage to them. I'm able to fucking wade in them waters and talk, and I don't get bogged down by all the baggage. If a guy tells me he's Trump, I don't immediately think he's anti-Biden or shit like that. You know, I'm a bright guy. I don't get confused by words and little magic shit. About that, I was trying to say to Jesse's point, Jeff's point, that I wouldn't be hasteful. I know I judge people quick, bro, but I wouldn't be hasteful to think a motherfuckers are racist. And I've been an activist since I was a kid. I was the kid out there when they were closing stores down with a sign. Nobody else but adults. And I'm like, Jules' preferred customers, white people. I got a little sign right around as a kid.
Were you a Panther?
I got ties. I wasn't, but I got my buddies all word. I was recently, since recently, when I started cop watching, it's probably about 4 years ago, I was supposed to go over there and do something with the guy, and my guy, whose gang members got into it with their head of security, and they were trying to kill each other, so that never worked out. But I've had an eye. I've been an activist. I've been written in every major newspaper, even nationwide. I've been voted one of the top 20 activists in the country when I was younger, 20 years old, and we went and did stuff, and we was on 60 Minutes and shit. Point is,
I've never even seen a list of the top 20 activists before. That's crazy. I didn't know they did that. That's
point
insane,
is, point is, I've been around. I've spoken at colleges, had magazines.
Sure, no, I believe you. I just didn't even know they did that. I think
yes,
crazy.
yes, but that still ain't got
life.
to the point. I want you to see that my shit isn't coming from a small point of view. I've seen a lot. Most of my activist things have been with white people. I'm very well aware of the shit they can achieve. Matter of fact, I'm talking too much, but since we just brought it up,
man, some of those white people are just smart, right?
some of them, just like some, everybody.
Like everybody.
Some of those white people are very bright and articulate.
Yes, I mean everybody. It's hard to articulate. When I did got voted as that top 20, it was during the Freedom Summer '94, and the 3 civil rights workers who were killed. We went there and we met. We had some type of shit. It was covered by all the media and shit. And the lady, the Goodman, I think Andrew Goodman was the guy who was killed. Me and his mom ended up, being really good friends and shit. And they brought all the activists from that era. And I said all that to say this, that all of those people who came in, Student Nonviolent Coordination, the Coordinating Committee, neither here nor there, but all those people who came in were white people. They figured that the black people were so afraid of white people, no matter what a white motherfucker said, they do it. And somebody thought this was smart. And all the young activists, white folks, they went to class, they did this shit, and they came out here bravely, did that shit. Some of them died. White folk have always turned up for our shit.
Yeah, us white folk are pretty awesome. You're right.
Yes, if we're gonna, do that, put a name on it,
I don't really like being called white, to be honest.
Must struggle again.
I mean, I guess I don't like or dislike it. I don't think about the fact that I'm white most of the time, but if someone points it out, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm white. I mean, like, fuck, what am I gonna say? I'm like, I'm my skin color. I'm from Spanish descent, so like my skin color is like porcelain white. Like I kind of glow in certain lighting conditions. So,
for what it's worth, Chris, I've never seen anything racial, and I see it. And I'll keep my mouth shut if I think it is. And I'm voluntarily saying I've never seen that. You'd never even get crossed to that line. What would have put you on my radar would make me think I should see if he's a racist. Even never even tingled that fucking nerve.
That's nice. Nice you think. I mean, I grew up and have hung out. I've been friends with probably more black people in my life than I have white people. So I mean,
I think I'm kind of peach color.
I seriously, I mean, like I had, like I said, like one of the original gangster rappers lived in my house downstairs on my couch for over a year. Supposedly here to make an album, and he never would record it for a verse. And I still let him live here.
That's what it was like back then, bro.
that was like 6 years ago.
Apricot, even.
That's you, Dan. Peach, apricot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really think I'm white, I don't see a lot of sun. I try not to go out and interact with.
I'm pretty white. Look,
you can
actually see the white on my skin. See the white part.
But I'm still not white, I'm still kind of beige, opaque.
He's beige.
I'm about as pale as they get. I got a lot of Scottish in me though too, and I'm just found out I'm severely anemic right now, which probably doesn't help either.
If it's not Scottish, it's crap.
I'm trying to understand Tupelo's comment because, first of all, I'm a bad example because I never did think of myself as white. But are you saying black people have to factor in their blackness they think of they're conscious of having this thing called, and white people are just the default norm, so they don't.
Yes, you think it's normal. Yes, and there's something to be said about that. And it's, for instance, this is probably a bad example, but you walk into it's an old example, so it's bad. A woman walks in to get what is called the thing stockings, and the color was nude. I don't even know if people still wear stockings, but that's just an example of how, and that's normal. A white person would never think of it.
Wait, what?
When you go get
the stocking example.
I'm sorry, it might be bad, but when you in the stores, when white women go to get stockings, the color they get is called nude.
Yeah.
Meaning to the world, it's normal. It matches white people's skin color. This is just what nude is.
Black people are being traumatized by having nude be the name of the color for white women because it makes it seem like their color of skin is normal.
I wasn't making that leap. I was just making the point that there are a lot of things that should show that white people are oblivious.
I think
in comparison,
I'd make that leap. I think that's a step, not a leap.
Internalize some message off of a pantyhose container.
Again, I'm not small. I wouldn't just do it off of one pantyhose hose thing. Go. I'm so sorry for cutting you off 3 times.
No, it's okay. But like a better way of looking at it, like right now, a lot of makeup brands actually they didn't carry a lot of ranges of skin colors.
Yeah,
and
I heard about that.
Yeah, they actually started this new revolution since like a couple of years ago or something, that they started carrying more different skin tones for also, the darker skin girls, that kind of stuff. I don't think that a lot of people actually wear stockings unless it's either for, in the bedroom or it's because they have to wear it for their work, like
I get
stewardess or something. But
I get you. All right, thank you for both of those.
You're showing your
think
age,
it's kind of messed up.
Yeah, I am. You read my mind.
You go to the adult toy store, right? And you see like the white man's junk is like 8 inches, right? And then you look over to the left, and it's like here's the African Americans, it's like the size of your leg, right?
Right.
That's what Joe said.
And you're just
I hear a lot of penis envy from MoOse. Am I the only one who's hearing this?
See.
I think I've seen mostly like ones that were like colored like pink and purple and shit like that. So
me
what
and
does that
Joe
even
know
imply?
each other, and he's thrown out some comments to me that he's gonna slip one on my wife. So I'm always
I've done that to everybody. I famously got in trouble for saying something about Angeleen. Tell Angeleen I'll be over there in a minute. I got jumped for that. I say that. What is his name? Uncle Fatty. I tell him as soon as he leaves to go on panel, I'm gonna go in the back door to see his wife. I crack that joke on everybody. I don't remember cracking it on you.
Contributes to people's negative perception of you.
I think that falls under fuck them if they can't take a joke shit, and then it helps betters people.
I mean, it's a silly joke. It's not like I don't think like it's a lot different if like you.
The funny thing is, Chris, is the reason why Joe Cool's always laughing after he says a joke like that isn't because he's joking. It's because he really would do it.
Hey MoOse, if you're curious, 56 years old and I've never cheated in my life. True story. If you're curious.
No, he never cheated. He always respectfully introduced himself.
I mean, I'd break up with you. I wouldn't cheat on you, motherfucker. If it's over, it's over, and then I'd move on. But I've never even tried. I've never booked a hotel and backed out.
How many marriages have you ended, though? I think that's the point. How many
now, whether you're a Christian, now I understand that God shit. Christ.
And where's your clothes? You look fully clothed to me right now. Is that a marijuana leaf hanging?
I'm completely naked.
That is somebody in the community made that for me.
I was expecting some kind of interrogation when I came up on the panel, so I stripped myself of all my clothes so that I could be the physical embodiment of my own humiliation.
We've been waiting for you to come up. You see how lucky white men are.
Nothing between me and the truth, completely naked. So to speak.
All I see is Tim Robbins. So all I see is like
citation needed.
Well, I mean, if you assume what I'm saying is true and I cam up, it'll end the stream. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Did you choose that because you came up to redeem yourself? Because the Shawshank Redemption. Sorry,
I came up because
regret
that's
that
how it is. How I was feeling in the moment, right?
Well, you
like
wanted
in the
to
back
talk
of my
about
head, I was hearing, and the colossal prick even managed to seem magnanimous. That was ringing in the back of my head, and that. So that you say that there is some truth to what you just said.
Well, for what it's worth, even when you were in the comments arguing with us, I never thought of you as being a huge prick or anything like that. I just thought that you were being...
no. You and I always get along, even though we think differently. We're able to share our perspectives.
He thought about
That's
it.
man
Man.
shit.
He thought about
Normal
throwing that thing
people-
right on the camera.
What's that now, MoOse?
He already had that thing whipped out.
Oh, yeah, whipped out. Okay. So, but MoOse, I mean, like, so you went through Texas. You didn't call. You didn't write. I mean, like, you know.
Well, if he's in Oklahoma, he only went through the.
Are you in Texas, Chris?
Yeah, I live in Texas. I've never made a
Oh
secret.
shit!
I live in the Dallas area.
Why are you in Texas?
I would have guessed Northeast. I did live in Texas at one time.
There are so many millions of people that live here. It's not like doxing myself. Yeah. Like, yeah, I live in Irving, Texas. I mean, there's like a million people that live just in this town alone. I'm not that easy.
If someone went to your neighborhood and said, "Hey, do y'all know where that weird guy that walks around with the hat and the chain, whatever, and described you," you'd probably stand out.
I doubt it. I doubt it. I don't think most. I mean, most of my neighbors.
You know what? If they would have said the guy and that girl with that
most of my neighbors are Mexican. They don't pay attention to me.
With the bright blue eyes that's always on the YouTube. Do you know where they live? I bet you that somebody could know.
For my baby from Juniper, Juniper, that Juniper would probably get recognition, but like, but in me, like, no, most of my Mexican neighbors, they don't pay attention to me. I bet I could find
you if someone dropped me off in Irving, Texas. I bet just on verbal description of you, I could locate you eventually from just the people you.
Damn, I think that would be difficult. I think you would have a hard time. But Irving is a lot bigger than you think.
In a smaller town, I'm sure you could do it. He stands out a bit.
Yeah, Irving's a lot bigger than you think it is, and there's a lot of places that I don't go out into a lot, and like there's not a lot of people that know my name or anything around here. So yeah, it'd be kind of difficult.
If you say a million,
I know
people,
what liquor store you go to.
Oh, there's more than 1 million people. It's a 2 million.
It's probably 1,000 different places just to enter the fucking town. It's just
I mean, it's just part of the DFW area anyway. I mean, like the differentiation between like there's a part of Irving that's called Los Colinas that's just like the more upper end of it, the more upper class part of it, but it's still part of Irving, and a lot of people wouldn't even know. So if you could be dropped off in Irving, and you could be like Mr. in Los Colinas, and you wouldn't even know it. I mean, like it's not even like, I mean, Los Colinas has its own police force, but it's not its own city. So it's like,
there are many towns out here where I absolutely believe that's true. I could just find a person off their internet presence. But the big cities I've been in, oh my God, I wouldn't stand a fucking chance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would hope you could, Jeff. I mean, I would like to think if you got stranded here, you could find me. I would think that you got stranded, you could find me, and I'd be able to help you out. But unless you called me on the phone, you probably wouldn't.
No, I would just show up at your door pretty with the stream running, saying, "Hey, surprise!"
That'd be awesome, dude. If you could do that, I would just be like, "Oh my God!" You're like, "That's amazing." You're like, "You're
like Ed McMahon showed up at your door."
Yeah, I would be completely. But I'd give you my address. I've given you my address before.
Wait, even without giving them the address. Oh, too late. I was gonna say, even without
send me Chris's address. I want to send him a bag of dicks from Amazon.
He could play detective.
I'll send you my address, motherfucker. You don't need to ask Jeff. You don't need to ask Jeff. You just ask me. I'll give you my address. You can send me that bag of dicks directly. Okay.
And some dirty.
Cut out the middleman.
I don't give a fuck. I 100% believe, like, if someone really wants to find me, if they want to like dox me or whatever like that, they could do it if they really wanted to. I'm I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I'm an open book. Yeah, people can find me if they want to. Like
I've been
I use
doxxed
my
20
I've
times
had my
in a
real
day
name.
sometime.
I've had my real name on stream. Like when we started the show, even I didn't use to put Sadir. I used to put Flame Chris Slater. I used to put that up there, and like it doesn't bother me. I don't give a shit.
We ordered
People can find me if they want to.
time for a what do you call it, a party? You know,
I mean, bags of dicks are expensive. That's an expensive gift. You know, that's like, you know, you gotta that's a little sacrifice involved in
like
that.
$30.
So I wouldn't be insulted by that. You know,
Miss me with that. I'd be insulted. Miss me with that. I'd be insulted. Fucking
Joe,
prick.
some
Whoever
of my
did it,
best
I'd be
friends
like,
I've insulted
prick.
more than you know. Like, you know what I mean? You go deep, and then the next thing you know, you
You gotta go deeper the next time.
I love that the run the jewel song that's got it starts out like imagine this, I'm a bag of dicks, put me to your lips. That's one of the best opening lines to a song of all time.
Man, that's just okay.
Imagine this, I'm a bag of dicks, put me to your lips.
When you motherfuckers gonna unite and kill the police.
Frank, wait, what? Did you just say something about killing the police? What?
Yeah, that's in there too, man.
On
it's
this
about
entertainment stream.
On this
It's a lyric from Run the Jewels song, DJ Shadow. It's called Nobody Speak. It's called Nobody Speak. It's a badass track, and the first line of it is, imagine this, I'm a bag of dicks, put me to your lips. So that's the first line of it. So
it's hard.
We don't get copyrighted.
He's not that.
What does a bag of dicks look like? Is it like a bunch of dicks
know it is
ground up and then put in a bag?
It looks like a bunch
is
of
it like a
bears that look like dicks, Denizen?
Actually, I bet that's right.
Yeah.
No, it is right. I paid for it. I paid for it.
Yeah, there's a website and everything.
A bag of dicks.
Amazon. You can get it on Amazon, bro.
Is it the jelly bean dicks?
Nah.
Yeah,
they're,
gummies.
Gummy worms.
Yeah. Jelly beans.
Gummies. Yeah.
No, gummies, not jelly
strawberry
beans.
flavor or whatever.
Well, they call them jelly, but they're gummies.
All right.
Jelly beans have like
I got some gummies clearance.
They have a hard crust
the other
on
day
them.
that were like they were supposed to be shaped like top hats. They looked like dicks too. So, I mean, like, you know, you can find lots of gummy shaped, dick shaped gummies.
I tried to get cream filled ones, but they didn't come with them.
Usually that's a sign that the stream is.
Angeleen has nothing to do with this conversation.
We did just hit 3 hours, so we hit 3 hours. That's usually about like
you
the
know
length
what it
of
is.
it.
I think you guys are just giving up too early. I think you take the easy L. You're like, all right, we're done. Pack it up. Let's wrap this shit up. We've been going for 2 hours. I'm going home early. We got 20 more minutes.
We can keep going.
I'm kind of watching what the topics are doing, and when they start to stray like this into this territory, it usually happens about the time that people start wrapping up.
Only white people are racist, and there's no such thing as free will. Go.
There is free will.
Yeah, Jesse was here for like half a minute.
Racist. It's a form of tribalism.
Yeah.
There.
The free will shit. I agree with you, but me and Denizen has spent countless hours arguing this point. He has a good argument. Obviously,
was there anything fresh and original in the argument?
The fact that in the way he looks at it, you are a result of all things, so it's hard to get around that.
But that is explains everything up to the point you make the choice. But when you're making the actual choice, it's still with an amount of
completely and utterly reliant upon all of those things, including those faculties.
Doesn't mean identical.
It's literally program in and output out. Literally, you are a bio machine.
No, I'm not only a bio machine. That may be like part of me. Or
you believe in a divine spark. I see no evidence for it.
I didn't say anything about divine spark.
Well, it must be at this point. If you're not a bio machine, then you're emergent from it.
It sounds more like you believe in a divine spark because you believe in something that actually programs and animates you that's beyond your own free will.
No, because there's not a thing. The thing isn't necessary.
Yeah, you can be a victim of circumstances, what his accusation is.
You don't have to be a
how do you
victim though.
explain-
No,
how do
you're
you
a
A
explain
victim
Once-
might have been a
if
reed
you-
in the wind.
If
That's
you
not-
accept,
self-sacrifice
once you accept the
themselves?
truth, once you accept the truth that you are a result of your circumstances, it's empowering. It's the opposite of being. a
Yeah,
victim.
it's still a
How
victim
is
of
it
his
empowering?
circumstance. You
'Cause I
can't
see it
change
as
shit.
the complete
I
opposite.
think that's empowering though. Seriously,
Well,
'cause you're
people
you're
always
not a
change.
victim.
Wait, wait. I want to hear Moose's take.
You're the perpetrator of your own consequences. Everything you do, like everything that happens to you is your own fault.
We're not according to
You're saying
Denizen.
the
I
opposite,
don't
though.
think.
It's not your fault.
I don't see how what he
There's
said is
certain
exclusive from what
freedom
I said.
or liberation in.
I don't understand how they're
acknowledging
not.
being aware of that.
That's where I get
What,
confused.
what
like,
you're
'cause I
doing is
understand they're not.
you're packing a whole lot of stuff there's no evidence for into the I, me, you part of the equation.
It's your
What am I
own
paying?
fault.
There's agency in there.
Yeah,
There's there's will.
You haven't convinced me that I don't have agency. You haven't argued it away.
No, I would never try to convince you that you don't have
Well,
agency.
you did all day in the comment. Like there's a whole record.
No, I wasn't trying to convince you of shit. Are you kidding me? I had this conversation with you over a week ago. There's no convincing you of to let go of your fucking religious belief and free will.
Like
I was merely describing what I believe in the chat. I had no intention of thinking it was going to fucking change your mind.
It seemed like a exchange or a dialogue trying to persuade me of your view, but I could be mistaken.
I
think
think
that's what it feels like when you're really, really beholden upon your belief in free will. Anything that challenges it feels like an attack.
It didn't feel like an attack because I didn't take it seriously because it didn't rise to the level of a truth claim that I could take seriously because you didn't provide enough evidence for it.
So no, I wasn't making it a truth claim.
I didn't have anything to feel threatened or attacked by because it wasn't fully formed.
I think you feel threatened by the fact that you cannot provide any evidence for it.
Feel threatened. So if you think I feel threatened, you are walking around with a false belief. That's
I disagree. I think your reactions at the time demonstrate that
I have agency and free will, and I use it every day. And the fact that you don't think that exists does not threaten or impinge on that in any way for me. I just want to.
It seemed to. It definitely seemed to.
It does.
You seem to have a clear emotional reaction to it.
No, you might be projecting your own sense of like the power you actually have.
It's certainly possible. It's certainly possible, but my assessment, watching you change the way you discuss the topic, it definitely gave me the impression. And then if we're gonna go in the people in the chat who literally rage quit said this was no longer a safe space and are not on the stream anymore, I'll definitely say you weren't being that emotional, right? But on that gradient scale of freaking the fuck out and rage quitting the stream over it, and you just being at your total default, I recognized an emotional attachment to free will from you, sir.
Well articulated.
I don't have an emotional attachment to it. I don't see a way around it. I don't even think free will is it's not even necessarily empowering. It can be disempowering in many ways, but at the same time, I see it as a de facto fact of life that we are responsible for our own decisions and our own actions. And if you see it if like looking at any other way, I find it. I don't see a way around it. I don't think free will is something that you can argue your way out of. I think it's a
how
way
do artists make art? Are they just like is Shakespeare and Mozart? Were they just like channeling
free will, accountability, and responsibility?
Creativity.
Free will, accountability, and responsibility are not dependent on one another. You can describe a philosophy in which they are, but logically they're not dependent on one another. So you can have all those things or not all of those things or any combination of with and without those things. But I'm interested. You say that you believe that free will in some ways can be unempowering. That seems to be contrast to the way you described it earlier. So I'm interested. How is free will to you? How would you see it as a hindrance?
In some ways, but in some ways it can be disempowering in the sense that you're always responsible for everything you do. So like if you make a bad decision, then you are responsible for that bad decision and you have to accept the consequences for it.
You might have to believe. If you're conflating the two, then you might have to believe that. But your ability to respond to something isn't necessarily attached to the choices that you make. The consequences that may come of your choices and your ability to be responsible for them are not connected to one another.
How?
You can choose to do anything that you're not ready to suffer the consequences of.
Explain how those things aren't connected. Explain how those
I
things
never
aren't
said
connected.
nobody chooses anything. I said that the agency of the freedom and the will that you exert with your choices is a projection. That's what I said. Not that choices don't occur.
You just said that those things weren't connected. How are they not connected?
We deny even exist, and now there is this thing we assert.
Your ability to respond to something is not determined by or necessary for you to make a choice.
How?
I'm just surprised to hear you think that we can make a choice at all.
Are you able to respond to everything?
So I'm just confused. Maybe it's just.
Are you able to respond to everything? Are you responsible for everything?
Yes.
Are you responsible for everything?
Even the lack of a response is a response.
Are you responsible for everything that occurs?
Of course not. Continue.
No, of course not. There are certain circumstantial things.
So what makes you responsible?
You're responsible for the choices that you make.
That would have been my answer.
How?
Yeah, like consequences ensue.
Show me.
For decision you make. So
this again.
Decision, things happen that happened because you made that decision. That would not have happened had you not made that decision.
But things happen. But that's not a reason. That's not mutually. Sorry to cut you off, but that's not mutually exclusive. You can respond if Joe makes a choice. If Joe, I really don't want to have to yell in order just to say a sentence. If Joe makes a choice, I can respond to that. I can be able to clean up his mess. I can be able to influence his choices in the future. I can make it worse. I can make it better. If he does something wrong, I can fix that wrong.
How?
To put it in moral terms.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't know if you have a responsibility in the sense that we're using it. If you make a choice,
let's assume I have.
Hold on. Let's assume you have it when you make your choice, and your choice was to not pick up your kid from school, and a lot of crappy stuff fell behind it. You may not have to take action. You can let the kid stay at the police station or whatever, but isn't that responsibility? And the things that followed are your. I don't want to use the word responsibility again. You did that. You agree with that? You caused those things.
I didn't follow your train of thought.
You didn't. I'm sorry. You didn't pick up your kid from school. He went to the police station, had to get picked up. They're calling you and all of that shit on the phone. They're ready to kick you off for the fucking school program. Was that your fault that you caused those things?
Yeah.
No, I didn't cause them.
Yeah.
I'm not the initial cause. The phone call's happening before whether I have something to do with it or not.
Right.
Am I involved in the outcome?
I think that's what we're saying responsibility is. We may have different definitions. I think we're saying that we feel a burden. I'll speak for me. I feel a burden like I did cause that. Therefore, it's my responsibility. And then my free will comes to what will I do to clean up my mess? I think that's just the normal way of thinking.
It's just the state of being responsible. Anyone could be responsible for anything.
Your mic got weak for some reason.
Yeah, it's a piece of shit. It does
there
that.
You go. It's back. It's back.
Anyone could be responsible for anything. But the assertion is that you have to, you're not responsible for everything, but you have to be responsible for the choices that you make.
Yeah, I go for that.
Right.
So even if
you have to respond to the choices you make, if that's your point, you are right.
Well, sometimes you might even be able to respond.
Yes.
Right.
You may have made a choice that's way above your fucking pay grade, and you stepped into some shit that's way over your head to deal with.
Yes, so you are not able. You're not able to respond. If that was your argument,
right?
I agree.
If we're just talking about the state of accountability, that can exist with or without free will.
But in certain circumstances, when you have made a choice that directly affects things, you are responsible for your actions.
Prove it.
Yeah, you're going to go into this wordplay thing again.
The legal system says I don't have to prove it. We live in an entire legal system that works exactly that way.
So if someone else who's not you forces you to be accountable for something, and we both know how that works for people of a certain, income level and political power.
Yeah.
Again,
What's your question?
where's the agency, and how is that an objectively logical statement? It's subjective. Sometimes you're held accountable by other people for shit.
Isn't
Yeah,
the agency
you can
in the
comply or you can
response?
resist, and then there's a set of consequences for each choice, each one of those choices.
I agree that choices exist and consequences exist.
Is there agency in the response, Denizen? Is there? I'm using my agency to respond.
I don't believe that agency exists.
Meaning that I am a robot and I am doing what my mind thinks must be done. I am not really using free will.
No, because a robot's programmed by somebody else.
So what do you think? I don't want to put words in your mouth. Are you saying
does AI have
like the frog, the electric?
Well, your experience does.
Signal and you.
That's what I'm saying.
There's not a who. It doesn't need to be a who.
Stimulus and response.
I didn't really do anything.
Everything is stimulus and response.
No,
all my experiences led up to where I was definitely going to get the credit card out and go.
No, because that's a predeterminism that I don't subscribe to, and I don't necessarily subscribe to there being no free will. I just see no evidence or necessity for it.
Seems obvious to me. So we're missing something in communication.
I don't think there's evidence that there's not. So,
well, there wouldn't be.
I think it's still an open.
You can't prove a negative.
But until I have a reason to think I don't have free will, my experience bears out very strongly that I'm going to go.
I would think this is free will. I chose to pick up this knife. It was my free will, but you're going to argue.
You wouldn't even touch that knife unless I brought up the subject an hour and a half ago.
Yes, he is. That is his argument. Yeah.
And just because you made a choice doesn't prove any kind of agency.
Yeah. What is choice?
Does, though, but it does.
You have to have agency
That's
to make a choice.
That's what agency means.
To make the
choice does not prove agency. If a guy tell you you got to do a thing or I'm finna shoot your kid, you had to do it. It doesn't mean you had free will.
But that is
well. No, but you could also choose not. You can also choose not to listen to them when they shoot your kid.
Yes, you do got free will.
Well, now you're conflating agency with free will at the same time, and a choice is a choice could be interchangeable.
Yeah. I'm not conflating.
Agency is a component of free will. I would argue.
Agency is a component of free will.
Yes, you need to have agency in order for the word will. In order for there to be will, you need agency.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I to me they're the same thing. When I exercise my agency, I'm exercising my will.
No, I understand that. I understand free will. I lived under the illusion of free will for 3 decades.
But for me,
I understand it perfectly. Okay. Almost all of the philosophy that comes out of the West is all about how important and significant and fundamental our free will is. I'm well read on the subject.
Yes.
So it's that Eastern shit that confuses me. And they're starting to, and scientifically, when we start to go look for the Western shit, it's looking like the Eastern people were right the whole time.
Yes, it looks like they took the lead.
Your ego is just a projection of your own fear and insecurities. It's literally standing in between you and your freedom. And the more you give up on the illusion that you're in control, the more power and influence you'll have over the outcomes.
No, I don't know. Wouldn't that mean free will?
That's completely contradictory.
Wouldn't that mean free will? If I have influence over the outcome, we're back to free will.
No, because it doesn't have to be free. It doesn't have to be free or will in order for you to have influence.
I have to choose to give up these things, right?
Does a rock have free will?
No, but does that? But I don't want.
A rock doesn't have consciousness or make choices, so it doesn't.
Right, but it has influence as a motherfucker, though. Especially if you're in a boat and you're coming at it at the speed of the stream.
Okay, so.
I'm just saying you don't need free will in order to have influence. That's my point.
Steer the boat that might either avoid or steer yourself into that rock. I mean, you have choice in terms of how you handle that situation. You do not have free will in terms of what happens to you or what might happen externally, but you have free will in terms of how you react to it. You have free will in terms of how you react to the things that happen to you. That's what we're saying. Like,
you're
that's
asserting,
where the agency comes in.
And I would never argue that you don't have a choice. That there isn't the possibility of one outcome over the other. What I see no evidence. What I see.
That was our
No.
original criticism.
We talked this out to the end the last time, and when I realized that you were just talking about choices, I told you yes, free will exists.
And you're demonstrating
But that's you confusing choice with free will, not me.
Choice and no free
Type
will.
in define free will into Google. It's my definition, okay? So yes, by your definition of free will, it exists. Okay, I can concede that.
By your definition,
No, let Angeleen speak.
Then answer that then.
Let
we
Angeleen
just
speak.
define words to support our own points.
Angeleen, please.
I'm just asking what to you then. I don't know how to say your name.
Denizen.
Denizen. What is the difference between making a choice and free will?
Because free will means that there's free and will. So there's an independence and there's the exertion, agency of power.
Mm-hmm.
As I summarized it, the definition is it refers to the ability of humans to make decisions or perform actions independently of any prior event or state of the universe.
Wait, so is choice predetermined?
Well, yes and no.
No, I don't. I wouldn't assume choice is predetermined. It could be.
Then we're just talking about different things. So this argument really is pointless because like
you're having a hard time wrestling with.
I mean, it's not pointless to everybody else who argues about free will.
You're saying it's not independent of source?
It's just that we're not defining the term the same way. If we're not defining the term the same way, then we're talking about two different things then.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the philosophical question of free will that's existed for millennia. I'm not talking about the definition of the word choice. So, yes, you have choices.
You're saying that we're conflating choice and free will, and I'm saying I've never seen.
Yes, absolutely.
I see no evidence.
Our
that
choice
is the freedom, independence, and agency is being inserted in there, and it's an illusion that you've created. At least that's what the evidence points to.
Well,
what about the delayed choice quantum
the
ratio
sum
then?
Total of all evidence, present and future, on this.
No, and that's why I'm not convinced one way or the other.
Okay, because it sounded like you were originally today.
Well, all of the I have gone looking for evidence of free will and come up completely empty-handed. I've made a deliberate effort to do so, over the course of my lifetime, and I've put a significant amount of time and resources into it and found nothing. And the new evidence that's coming out leans in favor of it not existing. That's where I'm at.
Looks like you.
What does Jesse think? Because I have not heard his.
When you're looking for free will,
I go and look for the me that's making an informed, free, unexerted choice before I'm aware of that choice.
Right. It's logical.
Yeah, Jesse, what is your...
And what's your take on
free will?
I wanted to ask if there was a difference between free will and God's will.
Well, he's an atheist, so that
doesn't
matter.
In Christian philosophy, I would say no. That's the ultimate rub that I say that most Christians don't understand. And I know there's a lot of varieties of different Christianity. I'm not trying to peg hole anybody. Chris and I have had this conversation. It's not true in his case, right? But the mainstream Christian philosophy both gives Christians the impression that free will is the gift they're given by God.
Right.
And the philosophy itself is also quite clear about how you have no free will.
Yes, but I would agree. When you take both of those things into consideration, it leans that you do still have free will. It tells you
then we have to be God.
It tells you if you exert your free will, you will die and burn in hell. But you can choose if you want. I think that's their message.
We would have to become gods ourselves and offer a challenge to God if we are to have free will or exert it.
In their eyes.
Yeah, that's the story of Satan. But you can have free will, like in Christianity. It can be the gift that God gives you, and you can use that will to align it with God's will.
That's what I think I do every day.
Become one.
Yes. And that's why I think I gain power. Whether these things have been predetermined or not, I think I wake up every day and define every moment. I think before the problem has presented itself, to find ways to put myself in tune with nature. So I think I'm actively exerting my free will there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we can wrap up. It's
all right. It's been great. I've been neglecting some work for fucking all day anyway.
What kind of work?
I mean, this is. I love this conversation because it really makes me think about. It really does make me think about things. I mean, it's something that actually challenges my brain.
If you can leave your emotional attachments at the door, Denizen is great. And I would agree with Denizen. I would say that Jeff has an emotional attachment to free will, and I don't mind being adult enough to say I do too.
Anton, hello.
I believe in the spirit. Whether there's emotion involved or not, I don't even think is relevant.
I think you were taught that actually, and because it's such a core part of our psychology, like the way humans. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They absolutely did. Every single thing in society is telling you have free will. Our institutions are all based on the presumption. Judeo-Christian philosophy is at the core of how almost every American male thinks. 100%. And it makes sense too, right? Like as human beings, the way we communicate is by telling stories, and our psychology and our politics and our beliefs and all of this stuff is all rolled into this experience that we try to like categorize and create these containers for. And they're just, I can't find them. When I go looking for them, I can't find them.
Well, maybe that's a shortcome on your part and not ours. Anton,
could be, but you can't find it either, though. Because I'm like, show me, you know, like, where do you find it? When you go looking for it, where do you find it? Describe it to me.
I thought I just did. I've tried to say that 100 times. That's where.
Oh well, then I agree with you. Free will exists. If you thinking that you're the one, making all your decisions and you're completely autonomous, because
you have a very bizarre definition of free will. If you're going to claim it,
my definition of free will comes from Google. I don't know what to tell you.
Let's hear from a new guy.
Yeah, sorry, I just jumped in when I heard you guys were wrapping up. But what was it that Hitchens said about free will? We don't have a choice but to believe in it.
Right.
Okay, so I hate to be like a stereotypical like centrist about this, but
okay.
Do you think it's not possible at all that working with our psyches is both a combination of free will and other like content of our psyche working against us or controlling us or manipulating?
It's certainly possible.
Kind of like
God is possible.
A cigarette smoker can't just use free will to quit smoking cigarettes.
Right. If you kind of
that you have in a behavioral pattern of living your life a certain way that your brain is addicted to, and when you step out of that path, your brain kind of sends you signals to stop doing that thing. So
and when you understand physically how that's possible and you extrapolate from there,
acting outside of that, you can start acting outside of that path, but there are other factors at bay that might be conceptualized as the unconscious that work against you. And I know that Jeff doesn't really believe in that, but
I don't believe in the unconscious as conventionally put forth. I do believe there are factors that influence and affect us that we may not always be conscious of.
Why is it difficult for a smoker to quit smoking? Why is it sometimes not up to them, so to speak?
I did it. I quit cold turkey, so I don't believe smokers.
I was asking Anton.
I think it is possible
who
to
quit
will
cold
yourself
turkey.
to quit.
Some people have that strong discipline, but the reason why it's difficult is because the nicotine addiction gives you withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah, but
it's also a behavioral pattern because a lot of people struggle with smoking cigarettes because they take breaks at work and they have other friends that take breaks at work to go smoke cigarettes. Yeah. And when they go out to take a break, they have to stay and keep working. And they say, well, fuck this. I'm just going to take a break because they're motivated to get a 15-minute breather.
Everything is a confluence of habits.
Nicotine addiction. I quit it over a weekend, and it took 3 or 4 days to work it out of my system. And after that point, after the physical sip, it's left your system. It's a mind game. It is a psychological game.
I think that you
wouldn't have to play games if you had true agency.
I'm going to make sure that I win.
If you had true agency, it wouldn't require games.
I think you were making Denizen's point, Anton. When you went outside to smoke, you may think that someone would think that they made a free will decision there, but really it was programmed into you like a monkey because everybody else went out there, you did it, and you had less will involved in that decision that you may think.
I would
You
still
still made a
that.
choice. You
But
still wrestled with the temptation, the impulse, and
I
at
like
some
it, Jeff.
point
That's the
made
thing.
a
Is like
choice to
the fact
succumb
that you
to it
attempt
or
to
continue to
wrestle.
I
resist.
like
Yeah,
If you
I
had
would agree with that,
real
Jeff.
agency, you wouldn't be wrestling.
Yeah, but the attempt at wrestling against that need is a sign of free will, and I don't think it's like a dichotomy of you either have free will or you
Agreed.
don't. I think
I
you
agree.
have free will to fight against your biological or
Right.
your addictive tendencies.
Wrestling alone wouldn't
It's
make
just
it disqualify it from being free will.
it's just you recognizing the suffering of your
No, it's the
choices
freedom to do
and
the wrestling.
in the
it's
face
a-
of being habitually addicted to those choices.
So maybe
And
I'm
then there's
maybe I'm
there's always
misunderstanding.
going to be a whole bunch of external factors that you're just not going to take into consideration anytime you're making a choice.
Of course,
Obviously,
we
right?
love
Like
that,
Jeff
but that
Jeff
doesn't
thinks in
lock
that
it.
instance that he makes that choice, he's in a quantum bubble where
Okay.
where
So
the
maybe
environment doesn't even matter at that point.
But I'm wondering, because the way that you're making it sound that we don't have free will and the wrestling is a sign of not having free will, you're kind of making like a metaphysical argument almost, as if everything is predetermined and everything we do is not free will. Everything that happens has already been determined or is
Not
going to happen
predetermined.
that way.
There's no predetermined necessary for you not to have agency over everything that you choose.
So what's the difference between agency and free will? I know this has already been talked about.
I would say agency is a component of free will, but that wasn't the problem. The problem is predeterminism. You took an even extra step to predeterminism. There's no predeterminism required at all.
So agency is different from free will, but it's a component of free will. So can you try defining those two things again?
Free will is the ability of a person to make a decision or perform actions independently of any prior event or state of the universe.
I don't know if that's
not the definition most people I know would accept.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
free will. It's not freedom from contingency. It's just independence.
No, not from contingency.
The universe put me in that place. I'll acknowledge
and freedom.
that.
The reason why I use the word freedom, and that would be the independence part of it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're using the
It's
cosmos
independent of the
universe in place
factors
of
that are
God.
influencing it. Because that the
I
factors
couldn't hear you guys.
That is identical with the factors themselves. It's influencing something differentiated from that, which would be the will.
And when I stopped smoking,
You
I
lost me.
used my willpower. And part of it is I needed to keep a pack of smokes in my car at all times, because part of that, quitting smoking with my willpower is thinking about going to the store and buying it, that whole experience. So when I knew I had smokes with me
So
at all
your
times,
willpower, your willpower is freedom, is free will. That's agency.
well, I used my willpower in order to not smoke any more cigarettes.
That's a yes, right? Would you say yes?
I'd say yes.
Yeah.
So then, do some people have more free will than other people?
No. Some people have the free will to sit on their ass and eat chicken all day and be 500 pounds. Don't mean they don't have the free will. They still made a decision.
So you think that's logically consistent? You think people who don't quit smoking, who don't quit eating unhealthy, they really just don't give a fuck. They're just lazy. They don't suffer from it and wish they could make a different choice every second of every day of their life.
I don't know about that, but they still have the choice, so they still have agency. They
Well,
suffer,
choice
may be something
no. Because agency is the control over the choice, independent of other factors, and informed. Agency is also informed. So just being able to make a choice, I could roll dice and make a choice. I can just random, especially if I have free will. If I have free will, then I can definitely choose not to use it, and I can pick something randomly.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's
then
what.
You're choosing to pick something randomly. You're using free will.
If I had free will, yes.
Randomly.
Yes, if I had free will, then I could choose.
What's determining you to pick something randomly if it's not your
In that case, free will. The premise of the statement is, if I had free will, I could choose not to use it and just choose something randomly.
Meaning, no one can make
that
a
other
random
thing?
decision, right? Inherent in that statement, no one can make a random decision.
Not from the subjective perspective of your experience, because the decision's already occurred.
I hear where you're going with that. I don't know if I agree with it, but I understand what you're saying.
So what are you using to choose something randomly?
In that scenario, free will.
But I thought you said free will is not a thing.
He also said
I have seen no
random is not a
evidence.
thing.
I said see no evidence that free will exists.
So how do you know
that
the
was?
limitation
But you
is not
see
in your
evidence that
perception?
agency exists. And agency is a component of free will. So
No,
agency
no,
is
I
a
don't see.
component of
Brilliant.
something
Fuck
that
is
No.
your name?
You said
Anton.
agency
Brilliant.
is a
But I
component
don't.
for
But he's just
response.
making shit up though, so it's not that brilliant. I didn't say agency exists. The fact that you don't have agency is where I'm getting where
No,
you
you
lose
said-
the.
I didn't.
The fact that
you
the
said
fact that you
agency
don't
is a
have
component
agency
of free
is.
will,
I'm going to
and so
finish
I'm
this
asking
sentence.
you
I
if
swear to
free
God.
will-
The fact that you don't have agency is where the will part of the definition falls away. Because I don't believe
right,
you
he
have
doesn't
agency.
believe with great agency.
You said you can rewind the stream that agency is a component of free will.
Yes. Yes.
And
that's not mutually
So
exclusive with the
you're
thing I
saying that
just said.
agency, if you are saying that agency is a component of free will,
Correct.
doesn't that imply that you think free will is a thing?
He said it was. He said he believes.
Oh,
like
yeah, no, free will is a thing, just like God is a thing. It's a projection into your ego.
Yes,
So
he doesn't
why-
really believe free will is a thing. So agency is not a thing.
You
he's
don't have
over there.
real agency. You don't have real free will. It's a projection, an illusion. I'm well aware that the illusion exists. It's a fundamental part of our society.
Non-existent thing has a components to it.
Absolutely, just like God.
So I'll give
God
you
is
a
extremely real, and God is also completely man-made.
So I'll
Damn, did my internet go out?
So
No, I hear.
A person-
something just paused.
a person gets into a habit of overeating and becomes morbidly obese and is in that habit for 10 years of their life. And then one day, or over a long progressive period, something snaps in them and they suddenly start eating healthy and they start working out and they start losing weight. Would you say that the entire time something was like preordained, or
Yep.
it was never out of their choice?
Not preordained, just the ability to make that choice, along with whatever discipline is involved in that choice, existed when they were acting in an undisciplined manner.
Right, we shouldn't say preordained.
And
yeah.
right, and if you add up the suffering of that 10 years of abuse, you're adding to the
logicalness.
Right, to have a different choice without there being any agency or free
Right.
will. Just
He
a
got
consequence of
sad
your
of
monkey
being
brain
fat.
slamming into that fucking wall over and over again. Eventually, you're going to try something else and go with it.
So he thinks it was free will,
No,
but
not
really
eventually.
he
You're
got
not
tired
going
of
to try that.
suffering.
Some people are
And
morbidly
real
obese
quick, and I'll shut up. Real quick. What I find when I have these conversations is that, first of all, I believed in free will my whole life and argued in favor of it. Once I found I couldn't find it and that the evidence pointed to the contrary, I started having these conversations. I was really convinced that people didn't want to lose the ability to hold people accountable for their bad actions, because that's usually what everybody brings up first. What I realized, though, is they don't want to give up the glory of their good actions. That's really what gets. That's why they cannot accept that free will doesn't exist. Not because they're worried about society collapsing under the lack of responsibility or accountability. It's because I got that promotion. I bought that car. I'm a good father. I'm a good husband. That's what I find. Go ahead.
No,
There's a better
I would say
argument
that I'm
there.
motivated because I would say that I'm motivated by the idea that you think that something is like predetermined in us, or there's something metaphysical beyond us that keeps us from having free will or making an independent choice, and that's what I'm motivated to deconstruct.
I don't know. I don't believe that. I'm not sure how I can
Not
articulate
being
it.
able to find something is not evidence that it doesn't exist. You
I
know
keep
that,
trying
right?
to explain why
He's
predetermined is not a thing.
You've
There's
convinced
no
yourself you've done
predetermination,
it
no
as
preordination.
an exhaustive
I don't
search.
assume any of those things.
Let's say you keep bumping your head because the thing is low. The ceiling is low, and then one day you go out there and put it up. It wasn't predetermined that you'd bump your head and put that up. So predetermined doesn't X out what Denizen is talking about. It still remains that you bumped your head and you think you made a decision to do that shit, but enough bumps and you were gonna do it.
You were, because you had some discipline, some knowledge, some experience. You had a personality type. There's some people who will die bumping their head against it, unfortunately.
Yeah. And Denizen, about the other argument, that the thing that you were talking about, people do it for glory. I think there's another reason people do it. Mostly it's I'll say it shortly, is to get to heaven. People believe that if I'm a good man and I'm in tune with nature, whatever their belief is, if I could achieve this being, then I'll get where I'm going.
And I don't hate anybody or judge anybody for that either, right? I'm a fucking human being. You know, I know exactly what it feels like to think that way. I'm just saying that when I go interrogating myself and challenging myself, QED.
Yeah, well, you don't find agency, and I do. So we find different things when we interrogate.
It's logical. You're
And then and I can accept that, but then I ask you,
you're not.
I explain you to describe to me what you're seeing, where you see it. Can you do that?
I don't think you guys can really. You never agreed on a definition of free will. You were going to be stuck in a loop forever anyway. You guys would have had to do that shit.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just choices.
Agreed on the definition. It's just he put the definition of free will into a word called agency and said it was different.
Oh,
yeah. I said, how many times did I say on this stream? I'll go back.
Because you can't have will without your agency.
Dude, I don't know what you're even trying to say. So, like, what is keeping you in this conversation? Are you choosing to be in this conversation right now?
Yeah.
Very good. That is not agency. That is not free will.
You know why this is happening?
Not the kind of agency you believe you have, Joe, and you know that.
I was sensing wrap up energy.
He is saying that the situation brought him to this point, and he's
I didn't choose to be this Denizen that I am. I didn't choose that. I didn't have any fucking power over that. I don't get any
about yourself
for things that I do that people think are good. It doesn't make me a great person, and the things I do that people think are shitty doesn't make me evil either. I just am, bro.
Set morals aside. You just said that you didn't choose to do all this. So what's choosing it if it's not you?
There doesn't have to be who
circumstances and all of those things that made him become the circumstances that brought him.
You're the one using the circular logic. Because you're assuming there has to be a who and a choice. Yes, you're literally assuming there has to be a who and a choice. And if I don't agree with it, that's what circular logic is.
No, you're in an Ouroboros. It's even worse.
Ouroboros.
That's the state of nature. So where do you think the symbol comes from? That's one of the wisest symbols in the history of mankind.
Okay, Denizen, get your final thought in, and then we'll start wrapping
up. I think that's good. It serves good as my final thought.
Okay.
Say bye.
I am pro Aurora Borealis.
We're trying to
Aurora Borealis. A high vibe love tribe tonight, where we're going to be praying for and meditating for Sierra Leone. So we're going to be dancing from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we're going to do some prayers and some meditation for the people at Sierra Leone. Apparently some people from Sierra Leone that's going through some horrific things right now are going to be there watching it and, seeing that, other people around the world care about, what's going on with them. So that's tonight, High Vibe Love Tribe at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, all right. I'm going to put the link to Jesse's channel. Anyone go next? Whoever wants to go. Angeleen.
Well, I know I'm going to go next because just to prove my point, I choose to leave the stream right now.
Look at that will in action.
I just thought it was all very interesting and taking it all in and letting my brain calculate as it went.
If I wasn't
And-
here, would he have chosen to leave at the same time?
Sorry, what?
Probably not, but does that make his will not free will?
It does.
Just
This
because
definitely
there were-
doesn't make it independent and
Just
free.
because there were influences on it. You can't seem to separate the influence from the will itself. But we'll get into that another day, I'm sure. Joe, anything you want to?
I love you, cats. Don't change a thing.
See you in the streets. Anton, what's up?
Thanks for letting me come on. I was only listening for about 5 minutes beforehand, so sorry if I repeated any points that were made, but thanks for letting
No,
me
you
come on
didn't.
and
I think
spending an
you-
extra 20 minutes on here.
You added just what needed to be added in a very constructive way. So thank you.
All right. Looking forward to the next one I can be a part of.
Same here. Anytime.
See you later, Jeff.
Okay. I think Frank and I are going to do our Discord thing, TV watching. And there's probably verbal combat tonight on Speakeasy's channel. There is the dance thing that Jesse just announced on his channel, which I'm about to pop in the comments. And Talcott streaming right now. We'll be in the Discord. And other than that, we'll see you tomorrow. Oh, and PF Young is streaming tomorrow. He's doing his morning show. Probably taking callers. So y'all can catch that too. Yeah, we'll Denizen, when I'm looking at it, because I'm visual spatial, so I can see like the conceptual vision of it, like in a really diagrammatic way and semantic. And this is a conceptual difficulty and a semantic difficulty. It's not an actual metaphysical or ontological difficulty, I don't believe. So that gives me hope we can get there. Talcott is in. Okay. And on that note, we will say adieu. Bye. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Adios. Arrivederci. Sayonara. Later. Later, bro.